Chapter 439. Lin Rei's gaze turned cold and murderous. He said to the 36 Azuras and Lu Ying, Blood One, the 36 of you will split into 3 pairs. Lu Ying, Ling Yu, and Kuei Gang will each lead a pair. Go and destroy all the sects, empires, and families that are attacking the Xuanzong sect other than the Sword Sect. Remember, don't leave a single one alive. As the saying goes, cut the weeds and dig up the roots to prevent future trouble. Lin Rei understood this very well. Similarly, he had been doing this all these years and had always done a good job. Jian Wudi and the others were stunned when they heard this. Jian Wudi, especially, thought that he had misheard. As for the surrounding people, they started to kneel and beg for mercy after hearing Lin Rei's orders. Tears flowed down their faces as if they had suffered a great grievance. You won't kill me? Jian Wudi asked Linli with a questioning look in his eyes. Seeing the questioning look in Jian Wudi's eyes, Linli did not answer. Instead, he coldly watched as the cultivators kneeled on the ground and begged for mercy. Some of the more cowardly cultivators fainted upon hearing the order. Yes, we will obey. The 36 Azuras, Lu Ying, and Kuei Gang nodded in agreement. As for Ling Yu, he was sent by Lin Rei to kill Supremacy Immortal Qian Kuan. You guys go. Remember, do things cleanly. Whoosh, whoosh. Instantly, as soon as Linli finished speaking, Lu Ying, Kuei Gang, and the other 36 Azura clansmen left the hall, each heading towards their respective targets. The news of the Kunlun Immortal clan being destroyed spread throughout the eastern region. Although only a day had passed, this news was too big for the entire eastern region. They had no choice but to take it seriously, especially some of the smaller sects in the eastern region. They were very excited when they heard that the Kunlun Immortal clan had been destroyed. Because as long as the Kunlun Immortal clan was destroyed, good days would come for them. As for Ling Yu, after he arrived at the place where Venerable Heaven and Earth was being held in the rain, he came to Venerable Heaven and Earth's side with a cold light in his hand and said to him coldly, "He, die in peace. But you didn't lose out. Dying at the hands of the Xuanzong sect is a great honor for you." As he spoke, Ling Yu prepared to make a move. But at this moment, the voice of the Universal Dao Head sounded, "Oh, is that so? However, there's one thing that I don't understand. Even if you want me to die, shouldn't you at least let me know the reason behind my death?" "What is it?" Hearing Venerable Heaven and Earth's question, Ling Yu reluctantly answered since he was about to die. "This is the background of your Xuanzong sect. With the cultivation of an early immortal emperor, you were able to accept an expert like you as a disciple of the Xuanzong sect. And how did you survive in the immortal world? According to the law of the immortal world, there can only be 5 immortal venerables, but you, enough." Hearing so many questions from Venerable Heaven and Earth, Ling Yu was annoyed and quickly stopped him. The first Xuanzong sect doesn't have any power behind it. Moreover, I can tell you that the Xuanzong sect was founded by our sect leader, Lin Rei. Speaking of this, Ling Yu couldn't help but reveal a proud expression, as if he was talking about himself. But the respect in his eyes was very strong, as if Lin Rei was his second parent. As for the latter question, I don't know. The only person who knows is our Xuanzong sect leader. So, I don't know the answer to this question. As he spoke, killing intent flashed in Ling Yu's eyes. Then, the cold, sharp sword in his hand was aimed at Venerable Heaven and Earth's heart. Very nimbly, it pierced into Venerable Heaven and Earth's heart without any hesitation. Puff! In an instant, the long sword pierced through Venerable Heaven and Earth's chest. Blood spurted out from his heart and sprayed all over Ling Yu. When the white sword was stained with blood, it didn't become disgusting as expected. Instead, it gave off a strange and evil feeling. Seeing Venerable Heaven and Earth's vitality disappearing bit by bit, Ling Yu's eyes were emotionless. There was nothing but indifference. Alas! In your next life, you should open your eyes and never do such stupid things. In the future, you should pay more attention to your juniors. Otherwise, Looking at venerable heaven and earth lying on the ground, Ling Yu shook his head and said regretfully, "It's just that his cultivation can be destroyed." Boom! Suddenly, a ball of flame appeared in Ling Yu's palm and he threw it at venerable heaven and earth's corpse. Boom, puff puff. Venerable heaven and earth's corpse was destroyed bit by bit, but Ling Yu didn't leave. If he had known that venerable heaven and earth's cultivation was the top in the immortal realm, Ling Yu wouldn't be at ease if a venerable heaven and earth was burned to death by him. Therefore, Ling Yu didn't believe that he didn't see venerable heaven and earth disappear completely from this world. As time passed, Ling Yu felt relieved when he saw venerable heaven and earth's corpse being burned to ashes. Suddenly, as he floated towards the burned corpse, he saw a jade bracelet lying quietly in the ashes, sparkling. Instantly, Ling Yu's curiosity was piqued. If he had known earlier, even an immortal emperor would have been burned to ashes by the flame he used just now. However, this jade bracelet was fine. There must be something fishy about it. Then, Ling Yu picked it up and walked outside. He already knew about the mission that Lin Rei had given him. As soon as he went out, a small group of Azura clan people was waiting quietly at the door. When they saw Ling Yu, they flew up into the sky and disappeared into the sky like flowing light. At this moment, there weren't many people left in the main hall. Most of them had been executed by Lin Rei's people. In the main hall, except for Jian Wudi, there were only people from the Sword Sect. It was very quiet now. No one spoke. The main hall was so quiet that it was frightening. It could even be said that Jian Wudi and the others were panicking. At this moment, Jian Feng and Jian Lian, whom Lin Rei hadn't seen all this time, walked in. Jian Lian's face was pale as she limped towards Lin Rei with Jian Feng's help. Then, with a plop, she knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Lin Rei, begging for mercy for Jian Wudi. Sect Master, please let my father go. Also, I took my brothers. If my father is dead, the Sword Sect is finished. Also, my mother, what will happen to her? Looking at the teary-eyed Jian Lian, Lin Rei's face was ugly and filled with helplessness. Sigh. Linli, who hadn't said anything, just sighed. Jian Feng, who was standing next to him, knelt down as well, begging Linli for mercy. Sect Master, please let my father go. In the future, I will definitely do my best to be loyal to the Sword Sect. I won't dare to be disloyal. Please, Sect Master. Looking at the two people in front of him, Lin Rei was crying and laughing at the same time. What was going on? Get up. With that, Lin Rei hurriedly stood up and walked towards the two of them. He reached out to help them up, but he didn't expect that not only would Jian Lian not get up, but she would also plead even harder. Sect Master, if you don't let me go, I won't be angry. I will kneel here, At the end of her sentence, Jian Lian, who didn't seem to know what else to say, began to cry. Lin Rei felt even more helpless. Originally, he was very upset because his wife and children had been killed. Now that Jian Lian, was crying, he couldn't control his emotions and directly roared. Shut up. Silence, exceptionally silence. Lin Rei's roar not only stopped Jian Lian, from crying, but even the Sword Sect cultivators who were afraid of death stopped crying. For a moment, Lin Rei also felt that he had lost his composure. Then, he quickly calmed down and said in a gentle tone, I won't make things difficult for the Sword Sect. I won't kill Jian Wudi. As soon as he said that, a trace of purple appeared on the originally stunned and frightened Jian Lian's face. Just as she wanted to thank Lin Rei's voice sounded again. However, the death penalty is unavoidable. He made a mistake, so he should be punished. When he spoke up to this point, Linli spoke of the thoughts he'd decided in his heart. My wife and child are already dead. Even though I won't kill you for the sake of your crime this time, you must become the guardian of my wife and child's grave. You must guard my wife's grave for your entire life, and you're not allowed to take a single step away from it without my orders. As for your sword sect, I'll definitely abide by my words. Otherwise, I'll lend a hand when the sword sect encounters trouble. As soon as he said that, everyone was stunned on the spot, including Jian Wudi. He had thought that he would definitely die this time. He didn't expect that things would turn around and he would become the tomb keeper. Jian Wudi had nothing to say about such a punishment. In addition, Lin Rei had promised him. Who wouldn't agree to such a condition? Moreover, after this incident, Jian Wudi realized that nothing was important. His family, wife, and children were the most important. He had seen through the empty title of Sword Sect Master and didn't care about it anymore. After thinking it through, Jian Wudi nodded and replied, "All right, thank you for sparing my life, Sect Master Lin. I, Jian Wudi, promise again that with me, the tomb of my wife and son will be safe forever." As soon as he said that, a smile appeared on Lin Rei's face. At the same time, Jian Feng and Jian Lian also smiled. Sob sob sob. However, after smiling, Jian Lian started crying. For a moment, Lin Rei ignored them and left the palace alone. "Father, you're fine." Pfft. Instantly, the moment Lin Rei walked out of the palace, Jian Lian stood up and threw herself into his arms. She started crying. As for Jian Feng, although he pleaded for Jian Wudi, the knot in his heart had not been untied. As for the scene in the palace, Lin Rei's consciousness was reflected in his mind. For a moment, he was melancholic. Ling, I miss you." With that, Lin Rei didn't stop and headed straight to his residence. Along the way, he saw many disciples. The moment they saw Lin Rei, they all bowed respectfully to Lin Rei. However, Lin Rei didn't have the chance to do so. He walked past them as if he didn't see them. Chapter 440. Time passed by slowly. It had been a year since Jian Wudi was sent to guard the mausoleum in the main hall. During this year, all the major forces in the immortal realm were in turmoil. Especially after the few big forces were destroyed by the Xian sect, all the small sects that were previously suppressed by the other sects all came out at this moment. Their purpose was to divide up the destroyed sects. The annihilation of the Empire's forces had undoubtedly caused the various major forces to fight over them. There were even some neighboring countries that had begun to attack the newly annihilated countries. Other forces also began to attack the destroyed clans. Even some small clans began to surface, wanting to get a share of the pie. Suddenly, the wind and clouds rose, and the entire immortal realm was in chaos. During this year, the immortal realm, which was originally rich in immortal qi, was now filled with a murderous aura and the smell of blood. The main culprit of all this was Lin Rei of the Xuanzong sect. The 39 people sent by Lin Rei were ordered by Lin Rei to destroy all those who had besieged the Xuanzong sect, whether it was the clans, the empires, or the top sections. After they arrived, what was originally a paradise, became a purgatory in an instant. Some died, while others fled. However, the direct descendants of the sect, as well as the elders and protectors, upon the Azura's arrival, blood flowed like a river. According to Lin Li's orders, not a single one of them was spared. Because of this, the Xuanzong sect was notorious in the immortal realm. In just a few days, the top sects that had been passed down for God knows how many years were destroyed in an instant, and no longer existed. When the Formation Emperor, Zhu Tiantong, heard the news, he could not help but break out in cold sweat. He secretly rejoiced that he had chosen to withdraw from the battle based on his own intuition. He had chosen not to participate. Otherwise, it would not only be these forces that were destroyed. Perhaps the Formation Emperor would be among them as well. That might not be the case. The Array Emperor had held a grand banquet for 7 days and 7 nights in order to celebrate the fact that he had made the right choice and did not involve the bloodline of the Array Emperor in this massacre where they had no power to fight back. At the same time, the Emperor of Battle Arrays wrote a letter asking his granddaughter to work hard in the Xuanzong sect. Zhu Chenxi smiled bitterly in her heart for a long time. The Xuanzong sect's fame was widespread, and Lin Rei's name reverberated throughout the 4 seas and 5 continents. At this moment, in the immortal world and even in the sea realm, as long as Lin Rei's name was mentioned, no one would not know who he was. Even for newborns, the first person their parents introduced them to was Lin Rei. After this battle, other than immortal venerable heaven and earth, no one else in the immortal world was killed. There was also senior celestial Ao Tian. As for the other senior celestial Hao Chen, Lin Rei did not kill him. After all, Lin Rei had chosen to let go of the Sword Sect, which was equivalent to letting go of Hao Chen. Therefore, Hao Chen was very grateful to Lin Rei. He simply regarded Lin Rei as his second parent. 2 of the 5 senior celestials had died. During this year in the immortal world, Old Man Gong, son of the Formation Union, had comprehended the mystery of the senior celestial and successfully advanced to become a new senior celestial. He even went to the Xuanzong sect to visit Lin Rei. However, it was a pity that Lin Rei did not see him. Instead, his self-esteem was affected. This was because after he met the 3 senior celestials of the Xuanzong sect, he swore that he would work harder in his cultivation after he returned. He would never fall behind others. Some were happy while others were sad. There were constant wars outside, but the Xuanzong sect was like a paradise. It was very quiet. During this year, the people of the Xuanzong sect did nothing but cultivate. During this year, Dong Xiaonan brought Lin Yun back to the Xuanzong sect and paid a visit to Lin Rei. To Dong Xiaonan's surprise, Lin Rei pushed him to the position of acting sect master and let him manage the Xuanzong sect. As for Lin Yun, he returned to his room to train in seclusion. To Lin Li, his father, he was a stranger, but he was also familiar with him. When the 2 met, they had nothing to say other than greeting each other. Regarding this, Lin Li also felt helpless. After all, he had not really cared about him since he was born, so this was understandable. The most troublesome one was Lin Rei. After coming out of the main palace a year ago, he went to the tombs of Jin Ling and Jin En in the Heavenly Star secret territory. With tears in his eyes, he began to repent in front of the tombs. All day long, all he did was drink. He didn't cultivate and just kept drinking. That was because he would only feel better when he was drunk. However, after he sobered up, he began to suffer again. Day after day, Lin Rei almost forgot his mission. On the way, Ouyang Jing came to persuade him, but in the end, he was sent out by Lin Rei with immortal qi. Since then, he never came again. Even the little dragon had tried to persuade Lin Rei more than once. For the first half of the year, he would nag in Lin Rei's ear every day. What they said was nothing more than something like pulling himself together, training hard, and so on. But no matter how Xiaolong tried to persuade him, it was useless. It was as if Lin Li had sealed off his 5 senses. No matter what they said, it was as if he wasn't affected at all. Lin Yun came several times. When he saw his father standing in front of his brother's grave, his heart ached and tears flowed silently. After a few times, he never came again. It was not that they did not want to come, but Lin Rei used a formation to surround the grave. With their cultivation, they could not enter at all. Even if they were immortal venerables, they had to see if they had the ability to do so. However, today, Xiaolong's voice rang out once more. This time, Lin Li's brows were tightly knitted together, and his eyelids were slightly raised. His expression was weak, and his eyes were lifeless. It was as if there was no soul in them. He was like a walking corpse. Lin Rei, this is the last time. This time, if you are like before, I will not care about you anymore. At this moment, the little dragon was burning with anger, so much so that his face had changed. This was the first time Lin Rei saw the little dragon like this. What's the matter? He looked weak and his tone was extremely casual. He did not look like an immortal emperor at all. There was no momentum at all. His clothes were tattered, and he looked like a beggar on the street. His body was emitting a stench, and there was a strong smell of alcohol in the stench. Humph. Looking at Lin Ray's weak appearance, as if he had smoked marijuana, the little dragon frowned and rolled his eyes at Lin Ray with an unfriendly expression. Then, he told Lin Ray what he wanted to say. People have 3 souls and 6 spirits. They are regarded as souls, and after people die, their souls will go to the ghost realm. Hearing the little dragon say this, Lin Ray's eyes flashed with a glimmer of hope. Then, he raised his head and listened seriously. However, as for us cultivators, generally, those who were strong when they were alive can go to the ghost domain to cultivate. Jean N and Jean Ling's cultivation just happens to meet these conditions. However, I don't know if their soul puppets have been destroyed by that guy from the heaven and earth path. If not, then you can search for them at full speed. If not, then you can only do it when your cultivation reaches the level where you can reverse time. At this moment, although Linley's eyes hadn't regained their former luster, they weren't as lifeless and empty as they had been in the past. Ghost realm? In the bottom of his heart, the words ghost realm had been deeply imprinted in Lin Ray's heart. Although he did not know the truth of this matter, for his wife and child, Lin Ray had already decided to give it a try. If he found it, then everyone would be happy. If he did not find it, then it was not the worst result. After all, the current result was already bad enough. After secretly making up his mind, he decided to go to the ghost realm. However, when he heard the little dragon's next words, Lin Ray rolled his eyes. The ghost realm is in the god realm. Therefore, only when you reach the god realm can you find Jean Ling. Moreover, you can only do it when you reach the god realm. As soon as these words came out, Lin Ray really wanted to drag him out immediately. Those Langia board members would *CK him up. At the end of the day, wasn't it just to cheer him up and concentrate on cultivation so that he could reach the realm they wanted as soon as possible? Lin Ray was quite clear about the little dragon's thoughts. However, no matter what, this news was very important to Lin Ray. Moreover, he had been dispirited for long enough. Only by becoming stronger could he protect the remaining people. Also, there was another son. This was his only son. He might be thinking about something happening to him. Okay, I know what you mean. What should I do next? Hee. Listening to Lin Ray's words, the little dragon chuckled. A mischievous smile appeared on his face. Then, he told Lin Ray's future cultivation schedule. First of all, you must continue to break through the immortal venerable realm and comprehend yin and yang. Before that, the most important thing is to get rid of the evil qi. Moreover, during the process of getting rid of the evil qi, you might have an unexpected harvest. Linley really couldn't think of any way to get rid of the murderous aura. This sort of thing was formed by killing. Unless one lived an ordinary life of not killing and lived a peaceful life, it was impossible to get rid of the murderous aura. It was impossible. However, Lin Ray didn't expect that he was thinking about what the little dragon wanted to say next. Those who know me well have touched Linley. What I'm trying to say is that you can return to a peaceful life. You can live an ordinary farmer's life for a period of time until you get rid of your evil tendencies. Furthermore, during this period of time, you are not allowed to kill anyone. You are not allowed to train. Let nature take its course. You can't be serious, right? Lin Ray really couldn't believe what the little dragon just said. With the evil qi in his body, it would take more than 100 years to get rid of it. Otherwise, it would be wishful thinking. Lin Ray couldn't believe that Lin Ray would let him spend such a long time. Moreover, he wasn't allowed to cultivate during the process. Lin Ray was stunned. Looking at the serious expression of the little dragon, Lin Ray immediately returned to his previous listless appearance. I know. Wait for 2 more days. Let me accompany Ling Air and N Air for 2 more days. I'm afraid it will be a long time before I come back. Chapter 441. 2 days passed very quickly. During these 2 days, Linley didn't even blink. He just stared at the grave of his wife and child. There were no more tears in his eyes. Aside from a sorrowful expression, there was nothing else. Lin Ray suddenly stood up and patted the dust off his body. He looked at Jean Ling's grave and said sadly, Ling, don't worry. In the 9 heavens 10 earths, no matter how difficult it is, I will definitely save you. At that time, you and I will never be separated. I didn't care much about you when you were alive. When I find you, I will definitely let you be reborn. After saying that, Lin Ray turned and walked outside. He didn't look back and left the grave without any reluctance. Break. He came to the edge of the array and looked at the Emperor Great Array that he didn't know about. He waved his hand and the array that had sealed the surroundings of the grave disappeared without a trace. Phew. Looking at the familiar appearance of the Heavenly Star's secret territory, Lin Ray took a deep breath and relaxed his body. He walked towards the house by the lake. This was the house that he had built for Jean Ling. Now that the two of them were no longer here, they didn't come with anyone. With a step, he was 10 meters away in an instant. Soon, he arrived at the door of the house. Looking at the familiar house, Jean Ling's figure appeared in his mind again. She looked so clear. After a long, long time, Lin Li came to his senses. Without even looking back, he walked out of the room. F.A. Father? At this moment, a voice filled with disbelief sounded. Suddenly, Lin Ray's body froze on the spot. He turned his head and saw Lin Ray standing not far away. His eyes were filled with surprise as he looked at him. For a moment, Lin Ray smiled bitterly. Then, he waved at Lin Yun and said, Come, follow me to the main hall. I have something to tell you later. After saying that, Lin Ray walked forward. When Lin Yun heard his father's words, he didn't refute. Instead, he hurriedly chased after his father. Following behind him, he didn't say anything. He just quietly watched his father's dispirited figure. This was completely different from the proud and strong sense of security he had in mind. Lin Yun's nose suddenly turned sour as tears welled up in his eyes. If he hadn't controlled himself well, he would have already burst into tears. After leaving the Heavenly Star's secret realm, Lin Li headed straight for the main hall. Along the way, when the profound Sect disciples saw him, they were all stunned. They all knew about Lin Ray, but now he had appeared in front of them. For a moment, they were a little stunned, but then they reacted and hurriedly went forward to greet him. Greetings, Sect Master. A voice drew Lin Ray's gaze over. Not far away, there were a dozen patrolling disciples looking at him with the same gaze. Hee, all right, you guys get back to work. After saying that with a smile, he walked towards the main hall. Along the way, he met many disciples who greeted him. Lin Ray replied with a smile. The news of Lin Ray coming out of seclusion quickly spread throughout the Xuanzong sect. The leaders of the various sects and the only elder of the Xuanzong sect, Dong Xiaonan, Lin Wanyu, and the others quickly rushed towards the Tianshan Hall. At this moment, Lin Ray had already arrived at the Tianshan Hall and was sitting on the sect master's seat in the main hall. However, he still looked unkempt and tattered. Lin Yun, who was following behind him, stood beside him, his eyes filled with respect. Yun, your elder brother is already dead. Originally, I wanted your elder brother to carry the burden of the sect and let you be a carefree second young master. Who would have thought that your elder brother, at this point, Lin Ray's voice trembled. Since your elder brother is gone, you have to take up the position of young sect master. At the same time, you have to take up this responsibility. This is your mission. Lin Ray's words stunned Lin Yun. He had not expected his father to say that. As for the position of young sect master, he had never thought about it. Moreover, he also knew that it wasn't easy to be a young sect master. Just like Jean En, he clearly knew how much effort he had put in. He had been cultivating almost every day, not daring to slack off for even a moment. I don't want to. Just as he was about to say what he wanted to say, a group of people suddenly walked in. Everyone had a happy smile on their faces. Plop, plop, greetings, sect master. Looking at the people on the ground, Lin Ray smiled. He waved his hand and said to the crowd, "All right, get up. In the future, there is no need for sect leader Fan, protector, inner and outer sect leaders, and elders to kneel and greet me." Once these words were spoken, the crowd quickly stood up and nodded gratefully. "Yes, we will obey the sect master's orders." And then, everyone returned to their seats. They didn't say anything, just waited for Linley to speak. "You have worked hard for the past year. Today, I have a few important things to tell you." In an instant, Lin Ray's voice rang out and the faces of the people on the ground turned serious. "My wife and child were killed and the position of young sect master is vacant. Therefore, I would like Yun Air to take up the position. Everyone has no objections, right?" He spoke with a questioning tone. This was not a decision he had made, but a request for their opinions. "We have no objections." That's good. From today onwards, Yun Air will be the young sect master of the Xuanzong sect." Once these words were spoken, the crowd instantly turned to Lin Ray and bowed. "Greetings, young sect master." Once these words were spoken, Lin Yun froze on the spot. He wanted to reject the title of young sect master, but he was forced to do so. Looking at the crowd's bow, Lin Yun hurriedly said, Uncles, senior brothers, and senior sisters, please encourage me more in the future. If I do anything wrong, please don't take my father's face into consideration." Once these words were spoken, everyone's hearts were subdued. Lin Ray was very optimistic about this son of his. When the crowd heard Lin Yun's words, they were very pleased with this young sect master. All right, this matter is over. The second thing is that I will be going out to cultivate for a period of time. During this time, Luing will leave with me. As for the other two venerables, they will remain in the sect. As for Blood 1 and the other 36, they will become members of the Black Ops. However, Yun Air will be in charge of the Black Ops. Boom. Once these words were spoken, it was undoubtedly like an atomic bomb that exploded in front of everyone. This disdain was very important to them. Blood 1 and the other 36 were 36 immortal emperors. If they knew that Blood 1 and the others were not just immortal emperors, but even higher, what kind of expression would they have? Even Lin Yun was shocked by this news. He knew the cultivation of Blood 1 and the others, and he was very clear about the overall strength of the Black Ops. From now on, your mission is to protect Yun Air's safety. You heard me. At this moment, seeing how shocked everyone was, Linley ignored them. Instead, he spoke into the air. Yes, we will obey. The cold voice suddenly sounded, and everyone immediately came back to their senses. Their eyes were filled with even more respect for this newly appointed young sect master. The third thing is that I will be going out to train. The sect cannot be left unguarded. So, Brother Nan, you will stay in the sect. As for the Nine Heavens Trading Company, you will appoint someone to manage it. At this moment, it was not everyone who was stunned. Only Dong Xiaonan was stunned on the spot, standing in the middle of the crowd in a daze. The people around him were also looking at him with smiles, but their eyes were full of approval. During the year that Linley had been guarding the tomb, all the matters of the sect, big and small, had been managed by him alone. What's more, the Nine Heavens Trading Company had so many branches, but he was able to manage them so well. Linley believed that managing the sect would be a piece of cake for him. Oh, by the way, Brother Nan, when I return from my training, I will accompany you to the profound sky continent and bring your parents to the immortal world so that you can reunite with your family. This is also the promise that I made to you back then. The male disciple, who was still conflicted about this matter, immediately smiled after hearing Lin Ray's words and nodded excitedly. Thank you, Sect Master. This subordinate will definitely complete the task that you have given me beautifully. I will definitely bring glory to the sect. There is no need to bring glory to the sect. I do not have the surname of the people from the immortal world. Besides, the sect's calamity this time was all because of that traitor. As for the sect's lack of disciples, when we return to the profound sky continent, we will recruit some disciples there. I trust the people of the profound sky continent." When these words came out, everyone was speechless. They wanted to defend themselves, but Lin Rei was right. If there had not been a traitor in the sect this time, they would have been able to hold on until Ling Yu and the rest returned. Everyone lowered their heads in silence. Seeing this, Lin Rei chuckled and said, all right, let's not talk about this for now. When I go out this time, I will be bringing Yun with me. So, I will have to trouble you to put in more effort for the sect. You also have to train the disciples of the sect. I am still waiting for you to follow me into the immortal world." In an instant, Lin Rei's words ignited everyone's fighting spirit. Their fighting spirit soared to the heavens and the entire Tianshan Hall was filled with smoke. "Yun, leave with me." Turning his head to look at his dazed son, Lin Rei said to him, then got up and walked out. Everyone hurriedly moved to the sides and made way for Lin Rei's older brother, Lin Yun. Lin Yun also saw his father's departing figure and hurriedly chased after him. Although his heart was filled with doubts, he could not disobey Lin Rei's orders. Just like this, the two of them disappeared from the Tianshan Hall. As for Lu Ying, he had been secretly protecting Lin Rei and did not appear in front of anyone. Chapter 442. With Lin Rei's departure, everything returned to normal. The Xuanzong sect's cultivators continued to cultivate. Under the guidance of the various sect leaders and elders, everyone began to rapidly increase their cultivation. Time passed quickly. On the mountain road in the southeast, two people were walking. They looked like brothers, but they were not. The man at the back was obviously very respectful to the man walking in front. The mountain road was filled with the chirping of various year beasts. The flowers and trees were very lush. Along the way, the fragrance of flowers assailed their nostrils. It was very enjoyable. "Yun, have you made any progress in the dragon subduing step that I taught you?" All of a sudden, the man in front turned around and asked the young man behind him. With a quiver, the young man quickly regained his senses and answered without thinking, "Father, I've already mastered 30% of the dragon subduing step that you taught me. As for the rest, it's fine. 30% is already very good. You're very talented and you've also inherited my top-grade thunder attribute. As for the dragon subduing step, you originally cultivated with the wood spiritual root. Comprehending 30% is already beyond the scope of my heart." Speaking of this, the man's face revealed a look of satisfaction, then he opened his mouth and said, "We've been out for more than a month. Walking all the way here must have been very beneficial to your cultivation. Cultivating your body and mind will be very beneficial to your cultivation. It has great potential to improve your cultivation." The two of them were referring to Lin Rei and Lin Yun, who had come out of the Tianshan Hall. After the two of them left the Tianxiong sect, they went with the flow of fate. Until today, it had already been a month, and the two of them had walked here. 1. On the way, Lin Rei imparted the dragon subduing step to Lin Yun for him to comprehend. To Lin Yun, Lin Rei did not force him to cultivate. When the time came, it was all up to fate. He could cultivate to any extent. However, what Lin Rei did not expect was that his son had inherited his thunder attribute spiritual root. His mastery of the dragon subduing step was also very strong. To be able to comprehend 30% of the dragon subduing step in a month was already not easy. Regarding this, Lin Rei was very happy. "Yes, father, you're right." Yun also felt that although the speed of cultivation is very slow, it's not bad to have such an improvement. After saying that, the two of them looked at each other and smiled. Then, they stopped talking and walked forward. After a month had passed, the relationship between the two of them, who used to smile at each other and not speak, had improved rapidly. Lin Rei was very satisfied with this. The tides rose and fell, and the sun and moon alternated. Lin Rei and Lin Fan walked from day to night. Originally, Lin Fan thought that he was going to spend the night in the forest. Suddenly, a cry of surprise came from Lin Ray. Fa. Father, look, isn't there a fire ahead? A fire? Hearing his son's words, Lin Ray promptly looked in the direction his son was pointing at. Suddenly, flames soared into the sky not far away, and faint screams could be heard. That's right. It seems like something happened. Having said that, Lin Ray frowned. He wanted to release his cultivation, but when he remembered that he couldn't use his cultivation anymore, he immediately turned to Lin Ray and said, "Go and see what's going on." Lin Ray had long wanted to rush out, but he couldn't leave with his father by his side. Now that he heard his father's order, he respectfully replied to Lin Ray. "Yes, father, I'll go right away." Whoosh! In an instant, Lin Yun disappeared from where he was standing. Seeing Lin Yun's anxious expression, a smile appeared on his face. Alas, although he's 200 or 300 years old, he's still a child who hasn't seen the world yet. Yes, the young sect master's personality is very easy to deceive. Just when he heard the cold voice coming from behind, Lin Ray immediately turned his head. At this moment, a devastatingly beautiful woman was standing not far away. However, this woman's face was frosty and her body emitted a frosty aura. With one look, one would feel that this woman wasn't to be trifled with. Ing, what do you think we should do to train him? Right now, my son's mentality isn't mature and he's been cultivating all this time. He doesn't understand the viciousness of the human heart and the fickleness of the world. If we let him inherit the sect like this, don't you think I'm too anxious? After he asked this, the woman didn't say anything. Instead, she walked to Lin Ray's side and quietly looked at the scene of flames soaring into the sky. The two of them stood side by side, their hair shining brightly under the light of the flames. At the same time, the two of them looked very compatible, just like an ancient couple of heroes. Just like that, they kept looking at the flames in the distance. Time slowly passed. After half an hour, the flames dissipated and thick smoke rose into the sky. Looks like it's settled. Seeing the flames disappear, Lin Ray was delighted. He immediately turned around and walked down the mountain. As for Lu Ying, he followed behind without saying a word. Swoosh! Not long after he left, Lin Yun's figure appeared in front of Lin Ray. However, Lin Yun's face was covered in soot and he looked very pathetic. How is it? What happened? Why are you so pathetic? Seeing the look on his son's face, Lin Li had a smile on his face as he asked his question unhurriedly. Father. After I entered, I found out that it's a small village at the border of Kuei Shui Empire called Tianfu Village. Just now, the surrounding bandits went to snatch a woman. In the end, the woman refused to give up and hit the wall to her death. In the end, the bandits didn't let go of the mountain village. Luckily, most of the villagers weren't hurt, but the houses were burned down. Lin Ray, who had been listening to the entire incident, was obviously enraged when he heard this. The evil aura around him couldn't help but explode. However, the moment the evil aura appeared, it was forcefully suppressed by Lin Ray. Got it. Since we're here, let's stay here. Then, without waiting for the other two to question him, he walked towards Tianfu village. On the way, Lin Ray was very fast and the other two gradually caught up. Then, half an hour passed. At this moment, the moon was hanging high in the sky and the mountain path was illuminated clearly by the moonlight. 2 or 3 fireflies hovered around Lin Ray and the other two. Very quickly, the 3 of them arrived at the entrance of the village. However, at the entrance of the village, there was a thick smoke. Lin Ray furrowed his brows and stopped in his tracks. Phew. At this moment, Lu Ying, who was standing behind, saw Lin Ray's expression and sensibly flashed in front of Lin Ray. With a wave of his hand, a gust of wind swept towards the village. Hong. Perhaps Lu Ying's cultivation was too strong, but the houses that weren't burned down and were barely habitable were instantly blown to pieces. Even the roofs of the houses were blown away without a trace. This scene instantly made Lin Ray happy. Lin Rei really wanted to give Luing a thumbs up for his actions. Then, after seeing the thick smoke in front of them dissipate, Luing retreated behind Lin Rei. "Let's go." As he spoke, Linli stepped into the Heavenly Fortune Village. Luing and Luing followed closely behind him. When Lin Rei and the other two entered the village, they saw the surrounding houses being burned to ashes. They saw the burned villagers kneeling on the ground and crying their hearts out. Seeing the houses that they'd lived in for so many years disappear before their eyes in an instant, and some people's rations were burned to ashes, they suddenly felt that everything was dark and hopeless. Looking at all these trivial matters, Lin Rei furrowed his brows but didn't pay too much attention to it. After all, there wasn't much he could do. At this moment, an elderly man was delivering food from house to house. When he saw Lin Rei and the other two strangers, he instantly frowned and hurried over to them. "Three guests, Tianfu village met with a disaster today. May I know why the three of you are here?" After he asked this, Lin Rei looked at the man expressionlessly and said, "This, elderly man, the three of us are here to settle down in Tianfu village. May I know who we should inform about this?" He went straight to the point and told the elderly man the purpose of their visit. He was someone who liked to beat around the bush. Settle down. Chapter 443. Alright, hurry up and get to work. You're not allowed to use any cultivation. Here, you have to act like a normal person and do it yourself. After Luing left and was about to use his cultivation to clean up the ruins, Lin Rei hurriedly stopped him. Instantly, Luing and Lin Yun froze on the spot when Linli said that. They didn't expect things to turn out this way. Luing frowned as he looked at the ruins that were burned into a mess. However, he still rolled up his sleeves and started working. At this moment, this scene was very strange. Lin Long, who was extremely beautiful and had a voluptuous figure wrapped in clothes, did not fit in at all. Looking at Lu Ying's back, Lin Yun and Lin Li joined him, and the three of them began to clean up the ruins. Time passed bit by bit. In the pitch-black night, the bright moon hanging high in the sky lit up the entire Tianfu village. Slowly, a red light appeared from the east and painted the three of them who had been working the whole morning. Other than Lin Rei, Lin Yun and Lu Ying's clothes were still very neat and tidy. Unlike Lin Rei's face was covered in soot, not to mention his clothes. His entire person reeked of smoke and fire. Bang! Suddenly, Linli grabbed a wooden stake that was several times thicker than his arm and tossed it to the side. Instantly, Linli sat down on the ground. Since he wanted to be a normal person, he had to be like a normal person and sit down to rest. After a night's work, the rubble was finally cleared away. A large empty space appeared in front of Linli. Looking at the place where he would live in the future, a smile appeared on Linli's face. Bang, bang. Suddenly, just as Linli was imagining that he had finished building his house, or that ordinary people would go to work at sunrise and rest at sunset, there was a sound behind him, and the ground he was sitting on trembled. He turned around and saw that Lin Rei had already moved all the wood needed to build a house over and threw them on the ground. In an instant, Lin Li stood up and walked over to the pile of lumber. Looking at them, he said to Lin Yun without raising his head, "Go. Build another house according to the one in the Heavenly Star secret realm. Remember, there must be 3 houses inside." As he spoke, Lin Li went to a shady spot to rest. As for Lu Ying, he didn't pay any attention to him. Instead, he stood behind Lin Li and didn't move at all, as if he was frozen in place. However, his gaze remained respectfully fixed on Lin Li, who was sitting in front of him. His eyes were filled with respect. Lin Yun had no choice but to do as he was told. He moved the wood to the empty space and started building the house. To a cultivator, this was easy. Although they couldn't use their cultivation, it was still a piece of cake. However, to a normal person or even an elderly person, it was extremely difficult. At this moment, the entire Heavenly Blessing village was filled with the sounds of crying, wailing, and working. Lin Rei ignored them. As the saying goes, if you can't even take care of 30% of your land, how can you take care of others? However, if you don't take care of others, others will take care of you. At this moment, Lin Yun's busy surroundings were gradually surrounded by people. Everyone looked at everything with strange gazes and their faces were filled with disbelief. They didn't understand why these two people were working so quickly. Furthermore, the wood for building the house was already prepared and they were even starting to destroy the house. What about them? They weren't even done with the ruins yet. However, what made them even more confused was that they hadn't seen anyone in the village before. However, they didn't look for long. It was as if they had thought of their own family matters and immediately dispersed. In the blink of an eye, it was finally time. To Lin Rei and the other two, it wasn't important whether they ate or not because they had already abstained from eating and didn't need to consume food. They only needed to use spiritual energy. However, at this moment, Lin Rei stood up and prepared to look for food. Since he decided to be a normal person, he had to do it thoroughly. Lin Rei did this very well. Stay here and don't go anywhere. I'll go find some food for you guys. Young master, let me go. At this moment, Lu Ying, who was behind him, had a strange look in his eyes when he heard Lin Rei's words. Then, he straightened his body and spoke up. However, before Lu Ying could finish speaking, an androgynous man's voice came from behind. His voice was simple and honest. Little brother, you and your wife are both from other places, right? I'm sure you didn't bring much food. Since it's time to eat, why don't you come to my house for a meal? As soon as this was said, Lu Ying, who was originally as cold as ice, blushed. Lin Rei was stunned on the spot. Lu Ying was already as beautiful as a fairy. Now that she was blushing, Lin Rei didn't know what to make of it. He. At the side, when the middle-aged man saw this scene, he thought to himself, this must be a newly married couple. Otherwise, their faces wouldn't be so red. Although this was what he thought, he still said, come, although our house isn't fixed yet, we can still do it. The man's words instantly pulled Lin Rei back to reality. Then, he looked evasively at the middle-aged man. The man gave people the impression that he was very simple and honest, giving people an inexplicable sense of trust. Although his looks weren't very outstanding, his personality was very compatible with Lin Rei's. Seeing the middle-aged man's warm invitation, Lin Rei didn't reject him. Since he wanted to live a normal life, it was reasonable to win over his feelings. Okay, then thank you, I still don't know your name. Lin Rei wanted to thank him, but he didn't know his name, so he immediately asked apologetically. Oh, my name is Zhong Tianxi. I'm a hunter from Tianfu village. You see, I'm more familiar with you than you are. Brother, if you don't mind, you can call me Tian Cge. I'll call you C, who had been speaking with a simple, honest smile on his face, suddenly became quite talkative. With an embarrassed look on his face, he said to Linley, oh my, what a mistake. I forgot to ask for your name, bro. As he said this, Zhong Tianxi fiercely slapped himself. Lin Rei smiled at Zhong Tianxi's actions and said his name. My name is Lin Rei. I moved here from the east. Oh. The east? After Tian Zhongxi heard Lin Rei's words, he was puzzled. Although they were deep in the mountain village, they still knew a thing or two about the outside world. Although the east was chaotic, there was no sign of the border between the two countries. He didn't understand why the three people in front of him moved here. However, he didn't think too much about it. He turned around and walked towards the house with smoke rising in spirals. Following closely behind was Lin Rei, Lin Yun, and Lu Ying. The three of them casually followed behind the middle-aged man, looking very leisurely. Huh, brother, don't mind us today. The house is a little messy. At this moment, he came to the front of the house. He turned around and said to Linley and the other two behind him. Then, he turned around and shouted into the house, woman, hurry up and come out. I brought back 3 neighbors. They just moved in. let's cook more today." As he spoke, he heard a clear and lively voice that sounded like a yellow oriole. Lin Ray was startled. Lin Ray wanted to know what kind of person this middle-aged man's wife was. Not long after, a woman that surprised Lin Ray walked out. To put it bluntly, although this woman wasn't like Lu Ying, she was definitely not a person of the pond. Moreover, the moment the woman walked out, Lin Ray vaguely felt a murderous aura and traces of cultivation on her. However, it disappeared in the blink of an eye. "Huh, so it's the neighbors that Big Brother C brought back. Since that's the case, come in. We're all neighbors from now on. If you have nothing to do, feel free to sit." After seeing the guests that her husband brought back, the woman revealed a faint smile and invited Lin Ray and the others into the house. Just like that, Lin Ray came to Tianfu village and got to know Tanzhong Xi's family. A meal passed quickly. Tanzhong Xi originally wanted to invite Lin Ray for tea or something, but Lin Ray rejected him. After leaving Tanzhong Xi's house, Lin Ray joined in the hard work of building the house while Lin Ray happily sat on the side and did some construction work. As for Lu Ying, ever since Tanzhong Xi misunderstood that she and Lin Ray were husband and wife, she became different. Lin Ray noticed this, but he didn't know what was wrong. In the end, he was too lazy to think about it and simply threw this matter to the back of his mind. Slowly, the embryonic form of the house gradually took shape. After a bit of work, a house was finally completed. Although the courtyard wasn't finished yet, it wasn't easy at this point. The sun gradually set in the west. Seeing that the sun was about to set, Lin Ray stood up and said to Lu Ying, "Let's go, Ying Er. Let's go hunt some wild hares. We'll eat them tonight." Lu Ying didn't have any objections, but when Lin Ray suddenly called her Ying Er, Lu Ying's face turned slightly red and he didn't say anything. Following behind Lin Ray, her hands were empty when she died, but she came back with a full harvest. The wild hares and pheasants in her hands were plentiful. However, Lin Ray didn't have any credit for these animals at all. Lu Ying caught all of them by herself. Originally, Lin Ray wanted to do it himself, but Lu Ying insisted. In the end, under the two's argument, Lu Ying had no choice but to take action. Not long after, she caught more than 10 animals. However, it didn't take long. When they came back, the house was already built and the courtyard was partitioned off by Lin Ray with wood. A brand new house appeared in front of Lin Ray. The familiar house made Lin Ray's heart ache. Looking at the house, Lin Ray couldn't help but think of his wife, Jean Ling. Looks like it'll take some time to completely calm down. Lin Ray couldn't help mocking himself when he noticed the change in his mood. However, Lu Ying obviously knew the whole story behind Lin Ray's actions, so they didn't disturb him. Instead, they went to the side to start a fire and cook. However, Lin Ray had completely settled down in Tianfu village today. Chapter 444. It had been half a month since Lin Ray arrived at the Heavenly Blessing village. In this half a month, Lin Ray had gotten to know almost everyone in the village. On the 5th day of his arrival, the village chief brought Lin Ray to the back of the mountain. He pointed at a piece of land overgrown with weeds and told Lin Ray, "Look, there isn't any good land in the village. This place has always been abandoned. Look, if it's possible, you should take it." As he said that, the village chief had a troubled look on his face. Linley wanted nothing more than to throw a brick at him. One could be shameless, but this village chief had already reached the point of perfection. He had no face at all. How could this be considered land? To ordinary people, land was their life. It was an existence that was above everything else. At this moment, in front of them was a piece of land overgrown with weeds. Not to mention planting crops, even if they wanted to plant grass, they would have to carefully consider whether or not they should take root here. All right, it's settled then. Since Lin Ray isn't saying anything, I'll take it as a yes. Seeing Lin Ray in a daze, the village chief rolled his eyes and quickly stopped him with words. Then, he prepared to leave. Just as he was about to refuse, the village chief turned around and said with a sinister smile, "All right, since you've agreed, Lin Ray, I'll take my leave first. I still need to report to the higher-ups about what happened in the village these 2 days. Otherwise, the losses to the village will be too severe." As he spoke, the village chief disappeared from Lin Ray's sight. This scene made Lin Ray want to cry and laugh at the same time. He hated this old man so much that his teeth itched. "Old thing, you actually dared to use words to stop me. If this was in the past, you would have already reported to the higher-ups." Looking at the place where the village chief disappeared, Lin Ray could only tacitly accept this piece of land that couldn't be considered land. Ha ha ha! Suddenly, a long laugh sounded from beside him. Immediately, Lin Ray rolled his eyes. He didn't need to think to know that other than the little dragon, Lin Ray couldn't think of anyone else. "That's enough. You can't stop laughing." At this moment, the little dragon was laughing endlessly. Lin Ray couldn't take it anymore and roared at it. Ha ha ha, that, ha ha ha. The laughter continued and grew louder and louder until Lin Ray finally left helplessly. As for the little dragon, it stopped smiling after Lin Ray left. Instead, it disappeared in a flash and returned to the system. Lin Ray had discussed the issue of the land with the village head for a long time in the past month, but there was no solution. Whenever the village head saw Lin Ray, he would come from afar. Lin Ray was annoyed by this situation and did not bother with it anymore. For the past month, Lin Ray had been thinking of a solution all the time. Finally, today, Lin Ray thought of a solution. That's right, innate sucking sac. That's a good place to cultivate spiritual soil. If I add a little innate sucking sac to that piece of land, it's even possible to grow spiritual herbs. Thinking of this, the haze in Lin Ray's heart disappeared. Then, he brought Lu Ying and Lin Yun to the grassy land behind the mountain. Now, it seemed that Lin Ray was very concerned. Although the land in front of him had a lot of weeds, it was still very big. It was more than 10 mu. Lin Ray had already thought about such a good place. It would be too wasteful to grow food here. "All right, Yun, I'll leave this place to you. This is the foundation of our family's future, so it'll be hard on you." This time, Lin Yun seemed to know about this matter. He didn't say anything and just walked out. Boom! He instantly released his golden immortal cultivation and shot into the distance with a flash of golden light. Lin Ray didn't care about Lin Yun's cultivation. After all, this was a land full of weeds. If he was alone and didn't know how to use any methods, it would take him a month to finish plucking the weeds. Therefore, Lin Ray chose to turn a blind eye to Lin Yun's actions. Swish. Swish swish swish, streams of light shuttled back and forth in the grassy land. However, where Lin Yun's soul was, the soil was very soft. Even a light step would cause him to sink into it. 3 minutes. Although it could be faster, Lin Yun used 3 minutes to finish plucking the weeds. After loosening the soil, he returned to Lin Ray's side to report his completion of the task. "Father, I've done what you asked me to do." His eyes were filled with a look of readiness to accept the reward. However, everything was different from what he had imagined. Lin Ray's face darkened and he roared angrily, "Humph! You still have the cheek to laugh. You're a golden immortal and you actually used 3 minutes to pluck a field of weeds. Do you think it's very honorable? Nonsense. Let me tell you, at your level, I can do it in less than 3 minutes and 3 seconds. As soon as he said that, Lin Yun's expression changed and he fell silent. He didn't say a word and just lowered his head to accept his father's criticism and reprimand. "Sigh, it's all my fault. I didn't teach you any profound martial skills or spells. Remember this, from today onwards. Oh no, from tomorrow onwards, you'll cultivate here every day for me. At the same time, watch over this spiritual field for me. If anything goes wrong, I'll skin you alive." As he said that, Lin Ray raised his hand and a huge burst of spirit energy appeared. In an instant, a small handful of colorful soil appeared in Lin Ray's hand. When Lu Ying and Lin Yun felt this aura, they were instantly shocked. Their eyes widened and they looked shocked. Ah! As for Lu Ying and Lin Yun's expressions, Lin Rui was very clear. He didn't care and casually threw the small handful of Xiantian sucking pouch into the soft soil in front of him. Boom! When the Xiantian sucking pouch entered the soil, the ordinary soil instantly changed. Starting from the area around the Xiantian sucking pouch, the ordinary soil started to have spirituality. 1 meter, 10 meters, 1 mu, 15 mu. Not long after, the 10 mu of ordinary land that Lin Yun had developed had all turned into spiritual land. It was filled with spirit energy. Lin Rui believed that if he scattered ordinary seeds now, they would mature very quickly. Looking at the 10 mu of vigorous spiritual land in front of him, Lin Rui suddenly had an idea. Since he was going to settle down here and couldn't cultivate, then it was fine. If he planted the seeds of the spiritual herbs he got from the 81st bridge here, perhaps they would mature quickly with the help of the Xiantian sucking pouch. Thinking of this, Lin Rui didn't hesitate. His consciousness moved and in an instant, all the spiritual herb seeds in his storage ring appeared in Lin Rui's palm. Instantly, his spirit energy reached a new height. It was full of energy and made him feel refreshed. Here, go and scatter these spiritual herbs in the spiritual land. As for the crops, I'll borrow some from Big Brother Tianxi before you come tomorrow. When we come here to cultivate tomorrow, I believe we'll have something to eat in no time. With that, Lin Rui stuffed the spiritual herb seeds in his hand into Lin Yun's hand and told him to plant the spiritual herbs. Without saying a word, he took the experienced seeds, used his cultivation, and disappeared on the spot. Haha. Looking at his son planting spiritual herbs in the spiritual land, Lin Rui didn't say anything. He just laughed it off. Young master, that was. At this moment, Lu Ying's voice sounded behind him. Lin Rui turned around and looked at the curious Lu Ying. He smiled. I didn't expect you to be curious. Although he said that, Lin Rui immediately told him about the innate sucking sac. If it was anyone else in front of him, even if it was a division leader, Lin Rui wouldn't say anything. But Lin Rui trusted Lu Ying a lot because he was the one who summoned him. He knew everything about him. Innate sucking sac, it's only a matter of time. Just like that, bit by bit, he told Lu Ying everything he knew about the innate sucking sac. That's it. Although the innate sucking sac is only a small amount, it's more than enough for such an ordinary piece of land. With that, Lin Rui turned around and didn't look at Lu Ying anymore. Instead, he focused all his attention on his son. Everyone in Tianfu village knew that Lin Rui was Lin Rui's biological son. However, Lin Rui's age became the topic of discussion before and after meals every day. As for Lu Ying, everyone had already tacitly agreed that he was Lin Rui's wife. Lin Rui didn't stand up to explain anything either. Soon, Lin Yun finished planting the spiritual herbs and followed Lin Rui back home. Everyone did their own things. Lin Rui couldn't use any of his cultivation and had to sleep before night fell. So, after dinner, Lin Rui went to sleep in his room. As for Lu Ying, he stayed by Lin Rui's side. Right now, he was by Lin Rui's bedside, gently waving his hand above Lin Rui's head, helping him chase away the mosquitoes in the mountain village. As for Lin Yun, after being reprimanded by his father today, he was determined to work hard in his cultivation and do his best to satisfy his father. Time passed quickly and the night passed quietly. The moon set and the sun rose from the east. The morning sun slowly climbed up Lin Rui's window. Lin Rui, who was lying on the bed with his eyes closed, furrowed his brows and slowly opened them. Lin Rui, who was still sleepy, saw Lu Ying standing by his bedside, still chasing away mosquitoes for him. In an instant, Lin Rui's heart started to race. Okay, you don't have to do this anymore. Quickly go back and rest. With that, Lin Rui stood up and was about to put on his clothes. At this moment, Lu Ying, who was standing next to him, hurriedly walked over, picked up the clothes on the bed, and started helping Lin Rui put them on. As he did so, he refused. No need, my cultivation has caught up. Even if I don't sleep for 100 years, it won't be a problem. Besides, I'm willing to do this. Not long after, he was dressed neatly. As for Lu Ying's sudden change, Lin Rei wasn't used to it. However, looking at Lu Ying, who hadn't slept all night and was chasing away mosquitoes for him, Lin Rei's face turned cold and he spoke in a low voice. All right, this isn't up for discussion. At the same time, Lin Rei carried Lu Ying up and placed him on his bed. Then, he covered him with the blanket and gave him a reassuring smile before pushing the door open and walking out. Chapter 445. Lin Yun was leisurely standing at the entrance when Lin Li walked out. Lin Yun looked over the moment Lin Li walked out. Huh, you're quite early. Lin Rei was surprised to see Lin Yun. He didn't expect his son to be up so early. He looked up at the rising sun in the east. It was probably 5 in the morning on planet Aqua Blue. Yes, father, didn't you ask me to go to the back of the mountain to look at the spiritual farm? Since I have nothing to do, I might as well get up. Lin Yun stole a glance at his father. When he saw the smile on his father's face, Lin Yun heaved a sigh of relief. The nervousness in his heart disappeared. All right, since you're all up, let's go together. Lin Rei smiled at Lin Yun, then walked over to Tanaka C's house next door. After spending a month together, Lin Rei had a new understanding of Tanaka C's honesty. Tanaka C wasn't simple, she was simple to the point of being a little silly. Lin Rei admired her. At the very least, she wasn't scheming. At the same time, Lin Rei was also certain that if his wife wanted to do anything to betray Tanaka C, he wouldn't mind being the bad guy and killing her. Knock knock knock, knock knock knock. Suddenly, there was a series of knocks on the door. Tanaka C and his wife, who were sound asleep, were awakened by the knocks on the door. Brother C, quickly go and see which idiot is knocking on the door at this time. He won't even let us sleep. A lazy woman's voice entered Lin Rei's ears. Instantly, Lin Rei's face was filled with awkwardness. This was the first time he heard someone call him an idiot. Moreover, it was a woman. All right, you can sleep for a while more. I'll go take a look. At this moment, Tanaka C's voice sounded. Finally. It eased Lin Rei's awkwardness and helplessness. Liao Yu was the name of Tanaka C's wife. As for Tanaka C, Lin Li had learned from Tanaka C that this woman had come to the village 4 years ago. However, at that time, she had been rescued by Tanaka C when he went into the mountains. At that time, Liao Yu was severely injured for some unknown reason. After Tanaka C bumped into him, he was immediately treated. In the end, he was brought home to recuperate for a year. After some hesitation, perhaps because the two of them had feelings for each other, or perhaps because the woman wanted to repay a debt of gratitude, the two of them got married in the end. Until today. Jia. Tian Zhongxi put on some clothes and opened the door. When she saw that it was Lin Rei, she hurriedly asked in confusion. Brother Lei, what's up so early in the morning? Hee, it's nothing. At this point, Lin Rei apologized somewhat embarrassedly. Big brother Zhongxi, I'm really sorry to disturb you so early. As soon as he said that, Tian Zhongxi's smiling face immediately turned cold. He then said in a neutral tone, Brother Lei, you're treating me like an outsider. We're all brothers. What's there to disturb? Don't say such things in the future. At this point, Tian Zhongxi's expression softened a little. Then, he asked, oh, by the way, why are you looking for me here so early in the morning? Lin Rei remembered all of Tian Zhongxi's words in his heart. However, after hearing Tian Zhongxi's question, Lin Rei hurriedly told him the purpose of his visit. Oh, farming seeds. Wait for me. Hearing that Lin Rei had rare things, Tian Zhongxi hurriedly walked in. After a while, when Tian Zhongxi came out again, there were a few more bags in his hands. They seemed to be quite heavy. Here, thank you. All of them. I don't know what you're planting, so I took all of them to see if it's enough. Hearing Tian Zhongxi's words, Lin Rui was speechless. He didn't expect Tian Zhongxi to take out so many. However, since he had taken them out, there was no reason to take them back. Lin Rui also had no reason to refuse. Anyway, he could exchange them back after the harvest. Then, Lin Rui hurriedly thanked him. Thank you, Brother Zhongxi. I'll take my leave first. Our son is still waiting. With that, Lin Rui pointed at Lin Yun behind him. Then, he took the bags and left. Dong. As soon as Lin Rui left, Tian Zhongxi closed the door and went back to sleep. On the mountain road, Lin Rui, who was carrying the 5 grains and miscellaneous grains, quickly walked towards the spiritual field. He didn't stop along the way. Soon, the two of them arrived at the spiritual field. Plop. The moment they arrived at the spiritual field, Lin Rui placed the 5 grains and miscellaneous grains on the ground. He turned around and said to Lin Yun behind him, Son, do as I say. Today, if you complete all of these, I'll teach you the innumerable sword technique. Xiao. Without waiting for Lin Rui to finish his words, the 5 grains on the ground disappeared in an instant. Similarly, Lin Yun also disappeared. Seeing this, Lin Rui smiled bitterly. Child, I haven't even told you how to plant it, yet you. After saying that, Lin Li hurriedly turned around and began to carefully study Lin Yun. It didn't take long for Lin Yun to familiarize himself with the planting method and impatiently leave. Of course, it wasn't that he was willing to work. It was because of the reward of the innumerable sword technique. Therefore, after half a day, Lin Yun put all of his effort into planting the 5 grains. The sun finally set in the west. Lin Yun had finished planting all the seeds. At this moment, he had already returned to the side of the spiritual field and sat down under a tree. Looking at Lin Yun's appearance, Lin Rui smiled. Then, he walked in front of Lin Yun. With a shake of his right hand, a scorching hot feeling instantly attacked. Instantly, a frightening sword aura shot up to the sky. Suddenly, Lin Yun, who was sitting under the tree, stood up and looked at his father with a shocked expression. At this moment, his eyes were filled with worship. Then, he was attracted to the long sword in his father's hand. It was as if that long sword was the only thing left in this world. Everything else was slightly unimportant. Good news. It really is a material for cultivating the way of the sword. In fact, before this, Lin Rui had already seen that his son's aptitude was most suitable for cultivating the way of the sword. Moreover, he also had the sword bone physique that hadn't appeared in 10,000 years. He was born for the sword and would die for the sword. He was born to cultivate the way of the sword. Moreover, practice could increase the speed of cultivation. Coupled with the sword bone physique, he could achieve twice the results with half the effort. Looking at his son, whose eyes were shining, Lin Li didn't say a word. He immediately drove to a nearby location, then didn't use any of his power. Brandishing the flaming stream 10,000 spells sword, he executed the 10,000 swords art. Without cultivation, the innumerable sword technique wasn't as nimble. The sword aura was oppressive and the killing intent was overwhelming. However, the innumerable sword technique used by Lin Rui's physical body was extremely domineering at this moment. Swish, swish, first style, 10,000 swords transformation, second style, 10,000 swords piercing the heart, third style, 10,000 swords return to the origin, fourth style, 10,000 swords return to origin. His peerlessly dominating sword arts, combined with the flaming stream of 10,000 art swords, made Lin Li seem like an ancient war god. He was extremely awe-inspiring. However, just as he finished executing the final stance, a terrifying, baleful aura suddenly surged into the heavens. Humph. Instantly sensing that something was wrong, Lin Li hurriedly activated his cultivation base and sat down cross-legged, beginning to suppress the baleful aura that was being released. He did this for half a day. The sun hanging high in the sky was now setting in the west. After nightfall, the bright moonlight climbed up into the sky, illuminating Linley's sweaty face. Phew, after letting out a breath, Linley slowly opened his eyes. A light flashed in his eyes, but Lin Yun, who had been standing to the side, didn't notice it at all. Kid, let me tell you, this is the last time. You have to know that your evil aura is extremely terrifying. Even if you don't use your cultivation, as long as you use a martial skill and have killing intent in your heart, then, suddenly, the little dragon jumped out from the system and pointed at Lin Rei's nose with a grave expression. At the same time, its cold eyes were filled with concern. Oh, I know. Look at how pessimistic you are. It's as if you're worried about me. He knew that Xiaolong was using another method to show his concern for him. Linley was well aware of this. Humph, keep on acting. Sooner or later, you'll court death. After saying that, the little dragon disappeared. Lin Rei wasn't angry at the little dragon's words. On the contrary, he felt warmth in his heart. Sigh. Letting out a sigh, Linley stood up and looked at Lin Yun beside him. He casually asked, Yun, how was it? How was the 4 sword stances of Father's 10,000 sword technique? Did you learn it? Lin Rei, who had his back facing Lin Yun, was silent after he finished speaking. Immediately, Lin Rei knew that this matter couldn't be rushed. If he wanted to impart everything he knew to his son, it would take time. Alright, I won't make things difficult for you. Here, this flaming stream 10,000 spell sword is for you. Isn't it your weapon in the future? After saying that, Lin Rei casually threw the sword. In an instant, the flaming stream 10,000 spell sword turned into a stream of light and shot towards Lin Yun. When it reappeared, it was already in Lin Yun's hand, tightly gripped. Feeling something strange, Lin Yun opened his eyes and looked. The weapon in his father's hand was now in his hand. A burning sensation instantly swept through his body, as if it had been acknowledged. Although it was burning, there wasn't any pain. On the contrary, his whole body was warm and indescribably comfortable. From today onwards, we will come here every day to practice the myriad sword technique until you're familiar with it. Once you're familiar with the myriad sword technique, Father will impart the silent thunder spear art to you, and so on. When you've learned most of Father's things, you can truly become the next sect master of the Xuanzong sect. Boom! It was like a bolt from the blue that struck the depths of Lin Yun's mind. In an instant, his mind went blank. His father's words were endlessly repeating in his mind. Chapter 446. Alright, let's go. It's getting late, so it's time to go back. Come here and practice on your own for the next few days. When you're familiar with the 10,000 sword technique, I'll check and teach you the silent thunder spear art. After saying that, Linley turned around and walked towards the heavenly blessing village. Lin Yun hurriedly followed behind him. At this moment, Luing was standing at the entrance of the Lin family in Tianfu village with an apron around his waist. He looked at the entrance of the village with a face full of anxiety. Why aren't they back yet? They should have been back a long time ago. Seeing that Lin Rei and Lin Yun didn't appear, Luing muttered in his heart. However, in the next moment, 2 people appeared. It was Lin Rei and Lin Yun whom Luing had been waiting for. Similarly, Lin Rei was stunned when he saw Luing waiting at the entrance. His eyes were filled with shock and longing, but very quickly, Linley walked forward step by step. Finally, when Lu Ying's silhouette appeared in front of Linley's eyes, all the shock and longing from before disappeared. His heart clenched and he felt a heart-wrenching pain. Tears flowed out of his eyes as he walked faster and faster. When he reached Lu Ying's side, he didn't say anything and just brushed past him. At the same time, when Lu Ying saw Lin Rei acting strangely and was about to say something, he realized that Lin Rei had already disappeared. Seeing this, Lu Ying secretly panicked, but he quickly reacted. Let's go, dinner's ready. At this moment, Lu Ying returned to his usual cold demeanor and told Lin Yun that he was close to Lin Rei's house. Of course, He didn't know about this scene because he didn't know that when Jean Ling was alive, she had been waiting for her father until she died. Without thinking much, Lin Yun walked into the room. When he saw the food on the table, his appetite was whetted and he immediately sat down to eat. As for Lin Rei, he brushed past Lu Ying and said, "You're in the room." Then, he took out a jar of wine and started gulping it down. Cough cough. Perhaps he drank too quickly, he choked and started coughing violently. Suddenly, his chest felt stuffy and blood rushed up. Pfff, suddenly, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Instantly, his gloomy face became much rosier. "Huh, Ling, don't you think I'm funny? I know you're already dead, but after seeing that figure today, I really hope that the person waiting for me is you." She could no longer hold it in and burst into tears. Her tears flowed down like a waterfall, drenching her clothes. However, the wine didn't stop pouring into their mouths. Moreover, each mouthful was bigger than the previous one. It was as if they wanted to swallow the entire jar. At this moment, a pair of sorrowful eyes were hidden in the shadows, watching this scene. The moment she heard Lin Rei's words, tears flowed uncontrollably. So that's how it is, so that's how it is. As he spoke, the person in the dark retreated, teleporting away. The only person left in the room was Linley, who was sobbing, by himself. If I could do it all over again, I'd rather be that young man who lost his memories. Even if life is difficult, but at least I'd still be by your side, and not be separated by life and death like now. Pa, the jug of wine in his hand was smashed to the side, and the jug of wine was smashed into smithereens. As for the wine inside, Linley had already drunk all of it. Perhaps the sound in the room was too loud, it made Lin Yun, who was eating, stop eating. He stood up with a puzzled expression and went to Lin Rei's room. He reached out and knocked on the door. Knock. Knock. Knock, father, are you all right? There was silence. After a while, no sound came out. Then, Lin Yun didn't have the chance. He wasn't worried about Lin Rei because he knew his father's cultivation. Then, Lin Yun turned around and went back to the dining table, eating big chunks of food. As for Lin Rei in the room, perhaps because he missed him too much, he drank too much wine and fell asleep from exhaustion. At this moment, Lu Ying was alone in the spirit fields behind Tianfu village. He looked at the dozen or so mu of spirit fields in front of him, but he wasn't in the mood to admire them. Instead, he looked sad and lifeless as he stared ahead. What's wrong with me? Could it be that I've really fallen for young master? A voice came out of his mouth, but Lu Ying immediately denied it. No, it's impossible for me to fall for young master. I'm a servant and he's the master. Yes, I shouldn't have such thoughts. But after saying this, tears couldn't help but flow from his eyes. He looked even sadder than before. But why am I so sad? If Lin Rei was here, he'd definitely be shocked. Lu Ying's actions at this moment clearly showed that there was someone he liked. Time passed by quietly. The three of them spent the night separately. Lu Ying also spent the night asking himself the same question, but he couldn't find an answer. As for Lin Yun, after dinner, he returned to his room to digest what Lin Rei taught him during the day. As for Linley, he had a very good night as well. He spent the entire night in the dreamland that he had created himself. Life was still like this. Very quickly, they had lived in Tianfu village for a year. Ever since that day, Lu Ying felt that his relationship with Lin Rei had become very strange. It was the same for Lin Rei. After that, Lu Ying also waited at the door for Lin Rei and Lin Yun to return. This time, Lin Rei was already used to Lu Ying waiting. If one day, he didn't wait anymore, Lin Rei probably wouldn't be used to it. At the same time, during this year, other than the outburst of hostility when he taught the 10,000 sword technique, there were no other movements. Lin Rei also didn't use any of his cultivation. Aside from taking all kinds of spiritual medicine every day, he spent every day very comfortably. They're back. At this moment, the sky was dark and the moon was high up in the sky. The silver light seemed to have put on a layer of clothing for the earth, making the scenery especially mesmerizing. At the entrance of the Lin family's house in Tianfu village, Lu Ying stood there as usual, waiting for Lin Rei and Lin Yun to return. Let's go. Let's go in and eat. Hearing Lu Ying's words, Lin Rei nodded slightly, then led Lin Yun into the house. As soon as they entered the house, the fragrance of rice wafted into Lin Rei and Lin Yun's nostrils. The two of them didn't say much and directly sat down and started eating. The meal was quickly finished. During the meal, Lin Rei really enjoyed this kind of life, but he knew that it wouldn't be long before it completely came to an end. Yun, you've already seen the 10,000 sword technique in the Silent Thunder Spear art perfection, but you can't be proud. Your father, I, only spent half a year to achieve it. After finishing his meal, Lin Rei put down his bowl and chopsticks and looked up at Lin Yun, who was eating. As for Lu Ying, he was also eating leisurely at the side. However, when he didn't hear Lin Rei speak, he put down the things in his hands and started to listen seriously to Lin Rei. I know. I'll continue to work hard. Hearing his father's words, Lin Yun hurriedly nodded seriously. After spending a year with his spirit, the gap between him and his father had been completely removed and they had even become very close. From tomorrow onwards, you'll start learning the Azura spear art. You have to remember that this spear art is a killing technique. Back then, I used it to kill many people, so when I teach you, you have to use it well. Don't have any intention of killing indiscriminately. Otherwise, even if you're my son, I won't accept you and will personally cripple your cultivation. As soon as he said this, a terrifying murderous aura was released towards Lin Yun. In an instant, the originally warm atmosphere became extremely cold. It was so cold that it was almost suffocating. After Lu Ying sensed it, he couldn't help but roll his eyes at Lin Rei. As for Lin Yun, he didn't have the guts to do so. Of course, he didn't have the ability either. Yes, I know. Then, he hurriedly replied with a trembling voice, Yes, father. I understand. In the future, I definitely won't kill indiscriminately. Of course, I won't kill less. As soon as he said this, Lin Rei's originally cold face instantly turned into a smile. Good. As expected of my son. You have to remember that you can't kill normal people, but for those who have ill intentions towards you, regardless of whether they're enemies or not, there's only one word to say, kill. Stunned. After hearing Lin Rei's words, Lin Yun was stunned. However, he quickly regained his senses and nodded like a little lamb to show that he understood. Remember, if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll *CK them up. My reverse scale is not to be offended. If anyone offends me, no matter who they are, I'll kill them without mercy. After he finished speaking, Lin Rei stood up and left Lin Rei's room. As for the people at the dining table, only Lu Ying and Lin Yun were left. When Lin Yun heard Lin Rei's words, he looked absent-minded, as if he was thinking about what Lin Rei just said. I really can't do anything about you and your father. Forget it, I don't care anymore. Lu Ying saw that one of them was like this, and two of them were like this, so he stood up and walked into Lin Rei's room. Lin Rei was already used to Lu Ying. The moment he heard Lu Ying walk in, Lin Rei opened his eyes, sat up on the bed, and stared at Lu Ying at the door. You seem to have some opinions about what I said just now. Lin Rei said plainly with a smile on his face. No, I wouldn't dare. You're the young master, but what you said isn't without reason. Hearing Lin Rei's question, Lu Ying hurriedly explained his thoughts. At the same time, he walked over to Lin Rei's side and placed both his hands on Lin Rei's shoulders to massage him. Although I want Yun to become a child under my protection, N's death made me vigilant. I don't want to lose another son. Chapter 447. Speaking up to this point, Lin Ray's eyes were obviously filled with sadness. Even though a year had passed, Lin Ray still hadn't recovered from the death of his wife and child. However, he was much better now. He wasn't like before where he would cry whenever his wife and child were mentioned or when he saw things he used before. All right, young master. Hurry and rest. Don't you have to teach in air the demon spear art tomorrow? As he spoke, Luing removed his hand from Lin Ray's shoulder and stood to the side without saying a word. Nodding in response, Linley lay down on the bed and fell asleep. Night always passed very quickly. Before he could fall asleep, it was already the next day when he opened his eyes. At this moment, in Lin Ray's room, Luing was still standing by Lin Ray's bed. His hand was still like before, gently dancing above Lin Ray's head to prevent mosquitoes from disturbing Lin Ray's sleep. A soft groan came from Lin Ray's mouth. Following that, his tightly shut eyes opened. His sleepy look was really adorable. Hee ing air, why are you still here? Hurry and sleep for a while. He wasn't sure if it was because he wasn't fully awake or for some other reason, but the moment Lin Ray finished speaking, his hand reached out and grabbed Lu Ying's wrist. It was like an eagle clawing at a chick, causing Lu Ying to feel a trace of pain. This incident happened too suddenly, so Lu Ying didn't even have time to react. He instinctively wanted to break free from Lin Ray's hand, but he was disappointed in the end. At the same time, he was shocked by Lin Ray's physical body. No matter what he did, he didn't break free from Lin Ray's hand, not even the slightest bit. At this moment, there was a sudden violent tug from below. Plop. Lu Ying was lying on the bed in a perfect position and fell into Lin Ray's arms at the same time. Lu Ying was stunned by what happened in that split second. She never thought that she would end up like this. The moment she entered Lin Ray's embrace, her heart raced and her face flushed from her neck to the top of her head. As a venerable immortal, Lu Ying, who didn't feel the slightest bit of heat even when she jumped into a volcano, started to change color. Beads of sweat rolled down her forehead and directly drenched Lin Ray's arm. Huff, huff, huff. Following which, Lu Ying's condition became more and more serious. At first, his heartbeat accelerated and his body slowly changed color. Now, even his breathing became difficult. However, Lu Ying didn't look upset at all. Instead, he was secretly delighted and the corners of his lips curled up as if he was very happy. Could it be that young master has accepted me? Lu Ying muttered in his heart. No, it must be that young master is still asleep. It must be. That's not right either. Why would I be in his dreams? What exactly is going on? At this moment, Lu Ying's heart was crumbling. He thought of many possibilities, but he felt that none of them were right. Lu Ying, who was in a dilemma, didn't want to think about it anymore. Since it was already like this, he might as well make the best of it. Then, he couldn't help but squeeze into Lin Ray's embrace and get even closer to Lin Ray. Other than the clothes separating them, they were just like a wife. Time passed by slowly. The morning sun slowly shone through the window and landed on Lin Ray and Lu Ying. At this moment, the two of them on the bed were covered in a layer of golden light. It was as if they were wearing a set of golden armor. A soft sound came out of Linley's mouth, and then his tightly shut eyes opened once more. Huff. Looking at the ceiling, Lin Ray took a deep breath and was about to get up when he felt something pressing down on his arm. He turned around and was stunned on the spot. At this moment, Lu Ying, who was lying next to him, had his eyes wide open as he stared deadly into Lin Ray's eyes. Their eyes met and Lin Ray suddenly felt a little embarrassed. At the same time, Lin Ray was very confused. He didn't understand why Lu Ying was on his bed and why it seemed like he had something to do with him. You. Before Lin Ray could finish speaking, Lu Ying got up from the bed and disappeared from the room in a flash. Before he left, Lu Ying left Lin Ray with a warm expression that left Lin Ray dumbfounded. Then he disappeared, leaving behind a dumbfounded Lin Ray. After thinking for a long time, he still couldn't figure it out. Thus, Lin Ray decided to think about it. After getting off the bed and putting on his clothes, Lin Ray looked up at the sky. Since he didn't think of anything else, he went straight to the back of the mountain. Swish, 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 swish. Suddenly, the sounds of swords, spears, and swords being waved entered Lin Ray's ears. With a little effort, all eyes were attracted to that sound. At this moment, Lin Yun was on the other side of the spiritual field, brandishing the myriad sword art and silent thunder spear art. Every move and style was executed smoothly, like flowing water. It was impossible to stop once it was released. Seeing that his son was so hardworking and had so much potential, the smile on Lin Ray's face became even brighter. Although there was a small episode in the morning, the matter of the soul just now had already been thrown to the back of his mind. Clap. 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 Lin Ray couldn't help applauding and saying, "Good, good, good, as expected of my son." After saying that, Lin Ray walked over to Lin Ray's side. After looking at the Fire Stream 10,000 Laws sword and the other low-grade weapon, he didn't say anything and directly took out the Violet Gold 10,000 Laws sword, Changing Wood 10,000 Laws sword, and a top-grade immortal artifact, the Scaled Dragon Spear. "Kid, these things are your old man's treasured collection, so you must remember that even if you can lose this gun, you must remember that you can't lose these 3 swords that I gave you. Your old man still hasn't figured out how to use these 3 swords. Got it?" After saying that, Lin Ray raised his head and looked at Lin Yun with a trace of reluctance in his eyes. "Okay, I got it." Looking at the 3 weapons in front of him, Lin Yun excitedly received them and stroked them with both hands. A happy smile appeared on his face. "Ah, good, hurry up and sit down to refine them. When you refine them, you'll be able to learn the Azura spear art." After saying that, Lin Ray went to the shade of a tree and sat down. He looked at Lin Yun with an envious expression and said, "Ah, the 2nd generation is really good. You don't even need to work hard to get such good treatment. Back then, when I was trying to get these things, I had to risk my life. Every time, I had to put my life on the line and lick the blood off my blade." After saying that, Lin Ray didn't say anything else. After taking a deep look at his son, he closed his eyes and entered the system. The system space was still the same as before. It was dark and didn't have any vitality. Apart from a few new functions, there was nothing else. "Oh, isn't this our young master Lin Ray? After not seeing him for a year, you finally thought of coming to the system. I thought you forgot about it." A mocking voice sounded. Immediately, Lin Ray rolled his eyes. He didn't need to think to know that in the system, besides the little dragon, there was only the voice of the electronic synthesizer. "Ah, little dragon, don't disgust me. It's not like you don't know how busy I've been this year. I've been waking up early and going to bed late every day to teach Lin Yun some life-saving things so that he won't die an unnatural death like Tell me, where would I find the time to enter the system?" Lin Ray unhappily said, "Moreover, I didn't say that I wanted to see you. What about you? You also didn't say that you wanted to go out and see me. Do you know how bored I was? You still have the nerve to talk about me? You really have the nerve." Originally, the little dragon wanted to disgust Lin Ray, but he didn't expect to be restrained instead. Regarding this, the little dragon was speechless. "Humph, forget it. I forgive you." Upon hearing Lin Ray's words, the little dragon was speechless. Then, he quickly changed the topic and asked Lin Ray, "By the way, why did you want to come to the system? Is something the matter?" "Nothing, I just came in to take a look since I have nothing to do. Also, I'll let you see how much of the hostility in my body has been removed in this year and how many more years it will take for it to be removed." This sentence directly exposed Lin Ray's purpose this time. However, after hearing Lin Ray's words, the little dragon didn't fool around like before. Then, he seriously scanned Lin Ray's body. After a long time, the little dragon finally spoke. Yes, not bad. It can be said that this year wasn't wasted. The original 100% hostility has been removed by 3%. Overall, it's not bad. Upon hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei felt as though he had knocked a chestnut on the little dragon's head. Only 3% of the hostility was removed in a year, and you call that not bad? You're kidding me. You call that not bad? Why don't you go to hell? A year has passed and I haven't improved at all. Tell me, in this year, upon seeing Lin Rei's furious look, the little dragon continued to look at Lin Rei with a chuckle. The little dragon's behavior instantly angered Lin Rei. You're still laughing? I at hashtag %. In an instant, Lin Rei vented a string of curses. Finally, the anger on his face disappeared and he calmed down. All right. Now that you've cursed, you should listen to what I have to say. Xiaolong said to Lin Li in the same gentle tone as before. Actually, 3% in a year is already considered fast. However, you could have eliminated even more. However, when you started to live in seclusion, you suddenly erupted with a vicious aura. Therefore, the possibility of eliminating 3% was reduced to 3%. That's why I say it's still okay. As soon as the little dragon said that, Lin Rei blushed and didn't know what to say. At the same time, he recalled the outbreak of hostility a year ago. In an instant, Lin Rei felt uncomfortable as though he was sitting on pins and needles. Lin Rei swore that he never wanted to experience that battle with hostility again. Chapter 448. All right. Looking at Lin Rei's appearance, the little dragon smiled eerily. This smile reminded Lin Rei of the same smile he always had before he was tricked. Instantly, Lin Rei shuddered and unconsciously took 2 steps back, putting on a vigilant look. In response, the little dragon didn't restrain itself. Instead, it smiled even more eerily. Lin Rei immediately wanted to leave the space. However, the next Lin Rei was dumbfounded. No matter how he tried to control his thoughts, he couldn't break through the system and rush out. In response, Lin Rei gave up after trying inside. Hey, little dragon, what are you doing? He turned around and asked the little dragon with a vigilant look. He couldn't be careless before he had a clear understanding of the situation. Nothing much. The system is preparing to give you a mission, so you can't go out now. It won't be too late for you to go out after the mission is issued. Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei was helpless. However, just as the little dragon finished speaking, the cold electronic synthesized voice was heard. Ding dong. Mission, couple mission. Find a cultivation partner and marry her, F***CK, no way. Before the system finished speaking, Lin Rei exploded. The amount of information about the mission issued by the system was so shocking that Lin Rei couldn't react in time. Yes. This mission is a main mission. You can't give up. Of course, it's not impossible to give up. I think you know the consequences without me telling you. At this moment, the little dragon saw Lin Rei's expression and laughed mischievously. Then, it walked up to Lin Rei to confirm the accuracy and consequences of this mission. Besides, it's not like you don't have a cultivation partner. Also, you woke up early this morning and had an internal look at Luying. Don't tell me you don't admit it. When he heard the little dragon's words, Lin Rei froze on the spot. His eyes were filled with doubt. He knew what the little dragon was talking about, but he didn't understand how this had anything to do with him. No, little dragon, explain it clearly. In order to solve the doubts in his heart, Lin Rei couldn't care less about that and immediately asked. Looking at Lin Rei's appearance, the little dragon told Lin Rei everything that happened this morning. Bit by bit, even the details were described by the little dragon. And the most frightening thing was that the little dragon was gesturing while talking. This scene fell into Lin Rei's eyes, but he was instantly dumbfounded. Firstly, he didn't believe the authenticity of this matter. Secondly, he was disgusted by the little dragon's performance. That's right. Tell me, you already did that to an innocent girl. How hard would it be to find a cultivation partner for you? Besides, you didn't even finish listening to the system. This might not be a bad thing for you. After the system finished speaking, it immediately piqued Lin Rei's curiosity. But Lin Rei thought about what the little dragon said in his heart. In the end, he made a certain judgment about this matter, which was that the little dragon was telling the truth. And looking at Lu Ying's expression when he left, the more Lin Rei thought about it, the more he felt that this matter really happened. Ding dong, mission reward, mission completed. Reward, the martial arts arena has been activated in the system. The martial arts arena. The host can go in to cultivate and practice various kinds of techniques. At the same time, when you're cultivating, you can place your cultivation items on the Luo stone. It will split out a specialized teaching system based on those items and impart relevant knowledge. Hiss. When the system said this, Lin Rei couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. His eyes were filled with shock. There's such a good thing. After a long while, Lin Rei finally came back to his senses from the system's reward and asked while holding the little dragon. Nonsense, do you think the system only has such a big place like the one you see? This is just a drop in the ocean of the system. If you want to really peek into the system, then work hard and cultivate. Hearing Lin Rei's question, the little dragon said very proudly, its tone full of arrogance. TCH, so what if it's like this? Don't you still need to rely on me to get out? Lin Rei didn't take the little dragon's pride to heart at all. Sure enough, the moment Lin Rei finished speaking, the little dragon, whose face was originally full of arrogance, instantly pinched itself. Hee, yes, yes, yes. Who are you? That's an existence that will aspire to be Hong Meng in the future. I'll have to trouble you for my physical body in the future. Just like that, the little dragon threw away his integrity. Looking at the little dragon's appearance, Lin Rei wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. He could only try his best to hold it in. Silence. Lin Rei didn't respond to the little dragon's words. At this moment, Lin Rei was very annoyed. He didn't expect the system to not be able to answer such a mission. Sigh. Why would it issue such a mission, TSK? Looking at Lin Rei's appearance, the little dragon hurriedly tried to persuade him. I say, brat, what are you hesitating for? This is a great thing. It's the martial arts arena. That's something that many people want but can't get. Look at you, you're still making excuses. Lin Rei ignored the little dragon's words, but he remembered them all in his heart. Also, Lin Rei had considered Lu Ying before. Although he had some feelings for her, he didn't know if it was love. Perhaps it was because she was similar to his wife, whether it was her actions or standing at the door waiting for him to return. Lin Rei knew that he wasn't a good person, but he wasn't a bad person either. To disregard Lu Ying's feelings in order to help him complete a mission, Lin Rei knew that he couldn't do that. Sigh, let's talk about it later. This can't be rushed. Then, Lin Rei quickly threw this matter to the back of his mind. Luckily, this mission didn't have a time limit. If not, Lin Rei could only buy a piece of tofu and kill himself. Alright, do as you see fit. The little dragon understood Lin Rei's actions very well and retreated to the side. Ding dong. Mission, host, please break through to the venerable immortal realm as soon as possible. The time limit is 300 years. If you can't complete it, the system has the obligation to erase you. Lin Rei thought that there was no more mission and was about to leave, but suddenly, the system's voice sounded again. In an instant, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. Besides, after hearing this mission, Lin Rei was completely blind. Becoming an immortal exalt in 300 years, to Lin Li, he wasn't confident in being able to do so. He knew very little about the immortal exalt realm. How was he supposed to complete the breakthrough mission before the end of 300 years? Damn it, little dragon, are you guys messing with me? 300 years? Why don't you say 200 years? At that moment, Lin Ray couldn't hold it in any longer. As the saying went, leave a way out for yourself so that you can meet again in the future. Damn it, this was the rhythm of blocking his path and leaving him no way out. As a matter of fact, this isn't a big deal. As long as you cultivate diligently, perhaps it will be possible. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. After breaking through to the venerable immortal realm, you will need to cultivate the third stage of the chaos scripture. Besides, I'm not afraid to tell you that the third stage of the chaos scripture is in the reward of this mission. As expected, as soon as the little dragon's voice sounded, the system's voice sounded again. Mission reward, the third stage of the chaos scripture, 3 talismans of life and death. Listening to their conversation, Linley really didn't know what to say. Weren't they just toying with him? Lin Ray couldn't decide if he should accept it or not. At that moment, he had no choice but to bite the bullet. Good, very good. You guys are really ruthless. Since it's already like this, why are you still asking me? Why don't you just accept it from me? Having said that, Lin Ray didn't want to see them anymore. He wanted to leave, but the scene in front of him was still pitch black. Nothing had changed. Suddenly, Lin Ray had an ominous feeling. Usually, there wouldn't be a single mission. But today, there were 2. As the saying goes, there must be something wrong when things are abnormal. Damn it, don't tell me there are more. Sure enough, Lin Ray's premonition was confirmed. The system's cold voice sounded again. Ding dong. Mission, you must give birth to a son within 3 years. Of course, you can choose not to accept it, but... Sigh. At this moment, Lin Ray didn't say anything. At that moment, Lin Ray seemed so helpless. He didn't know what was wrong with him today. Was it a big mission? Or was it April Fool's Day? There was such a big surprise, so much so that Lin Ray wanted to die. Especially this mission. This was simply the time limit of the first mission. He must give birth to a child within 3 years. Didn't this mean that he had to marry a Taoist companion this year or next year? Moreover, he had to have a child. Regarding this, Lin Ray didn't want to say anything. He didn't know what to say. If he didn't accept the mission, he was afraid that he would be directly obliterated on the spot. Okay, system, little dragon, you two are really ruthless. I really didn't expect you to be so shameless. You actually dare to play with me like this. Fine, isn't it just getting married and having a child? After 2 days, I'll make you guys dumbfounded. After saying this, Lin Ray felt a little regretful. Part of this sentence was true, but most of it was said out of anger. He was driven mad by the little dragon and the system. However, inexplicably, when he said these words out of anger, Lin Ray secretly rejoiced. However, this feeling was fleeting and disappeared without a trace in an instant. Ding dong. Mission reward. Oh, no, I read it wrong. It's not a child, but a pair of twins in 3 years. Plop. The system's words instantly made him fall to the ground and faint. This was because he had a trace of confidence in the system's mission. Twins of a boy and a girl. This wasn't something that he could get just because he wanted it. Wasn't this like looking for a needle in a haystack? Little dragon, I want to ask, now, can I still reject this mission? Lin Ray, who was lying on the ground and didn't want to stand up again, asked the smiling little dragon beside him in a weak tone. No, you've already accepted the mission, so the mission has already been generated. As long as you want to give up, you will be killed by the system on the spot. It definitely won't blink an eye. As soon as the system said this, suddenly, a cold wind rose from the ground. Lin Ray's body slightly leaned to one side, and his fear instantly rose to the extreme. Seeing that things had become a foregone conclusion, Lin Ray could only helplessly accept it. Chapter 449. Ding Dong, Mission Reward. You can obtain the cloning Tao of Heaven art if you don't complete the mission within a certain period of time. This technique is a saint-level technique, and its greatest advantage is that it allows you to create a clone. Furthermore, this clone's cultivation will be as good as the original's, and it will even know all sorts of martial skills. However, there is one thing that the clone doesn't know. What? Lin Rei asked weakly after hearing the reward from the system. However, a strange expression flashed across Lin Rei's eyes the moment he heard the technique, but it was quickly concealed and no one noticed. Ah, that's because the clone doesn't have the support of the system, so he can only rely on himself to solve the problem. Even if he encounters danger, if he doesn't solve it, he will die. At the same time, the original will not be affected at all, but he will be able to sense if the clone is truly dead. Lin Rei had been listening to the little dragon explain the uses and disadvantages of the cloning Tao of Heaven art. Now that the little dragon had finished explaining, Lin Rei finally reacted. At least you have some conscience. However, if you only give me a cloning Tao of Heaven art, although it's saint level, it's still not my own strength. Look, I don't even have a single attack method in my hands. As he spoke, Lin Rei's eyes were fixed on the little dragon. He pinched his right thumb and second thumb together and made a gesture of asking for something. He looked very shameless, like a hooligan, as if he wouldn't get up if you didn't give it to me. Looking at Lin Rei's appearance, the little dragon covered his face and nodded helplessly. All right. Kid, you're really ruthless. You even dare to bargain when accepting a mission. I'm afraid that only you, Lin Rei, would dare to talk to me like that. If he tried to hide it from others, I would have already suppressed him in purgatory. At this point, the little dragon rolled his eyes at Lin Rei and asked, Speak. If you want a martial skill, then tell me your requirements. However, you must remember that my greatest authority is to give you a saint-grade martial skill. I can't give you any more than that. As soon as he said this, Lin Rei was stunned on the spot. His eyes were filled with ecstasy. Originally, he only wanted a venerable level or grandmaster level cultivation method, but the result was unexpectedly good. Moreover, looking at the little dragon's expression, it didn't seem to feel any heartache at all. Regarding this, Lin Rei was somewhat regretful. If he had known earlier, he would have asked for a more powerful cultivation method. But then again, it was not good to be insatiable. Knowing when to stop was the way of the king. I know little dragon, you're the best. If the little dragon wasn't a spirit, Lin Rei would probably go up and kiss him. Don't play this game with me. Hurry up and say it. Looking at Lin Rei's appearance, the little dragon said angrily. Thunder attribute, saint-grade martial skill, can be used with both spears and swords. As the saying goes, isn't it shameful to be wasteful? Our family has 2 thunder attributes. Moreover, I don't want my son to learn everything like me. His situation is different from mine. Don't bite off more than you can chew. I understand this principle. Hearing Lin Rei's requirements for martial skills, the little dragon suddenly smiled, but his smile was very bitter. You're really not polite. Sword and spear can be used together. Do you think martial skills are transformers? However, although he said this, he wasn't stingy at all. The little dragon quickly took out 2 things wrapped in red light and floated in front of Lin Rei. He said in a very reluctant tone. This time, I'll give you an extra reward for completing so many tasks. As soon as he finished speaking, the red light disappeared in an instant. 2 golden strategies appeared in front of Lin Rei. Both are thunder attribute martial skills. One is the Free Swordsmanship Manual. It's one of the top saint-grade martial skills. Therefore, remember to take a sword-breaking pill before you practice, because only then can you practice the free swordsmanship aura. The little dragon's introduction instantly excited Lin Rei. He didn't expect the little dragon to be so generous. He didn't do anything, but once he did, he shocked everyone. Lin Rei couldn't help but want to listen to the little dragon's words. He didn't expect the little dragon to be so generous. The second one is also a spear art. You're a spear cultivator, so this martial skill is especially compatible with the martial god divine spear in your hand. It's called martial god's tactics. Its power can't be underestimated. At the same time, it's a saint-grade martial skill. No other saint-grade martial skill can be compared to it. Hiss. The more Lin Rei listened, the more excited he became. Thinking that this martial skill would soon be his, he couldn't help but want to go out and practice the martial god's tactics. Don't get too excited. You have to remember that you can't use your cultivation at will now. Only then can you practice the martial god's tactics as soon as possible. Also, you have to remember the marriage. Don't forget that it's already time. Even I can't stop the system from erasing you. At this point, the little dragon disappeared into the darkness. In the pitch-black system space, there was no light except for the light brought by the two martial skills. Ding dong, task. What, there's a task. In an instant, Lin Rei was shocked. As soon as the system's voice sounded, Lin Rei was already dumbfounded. He didn't know why there was such a big task today. This was the first time a girl got on a sedan chair. Ding dong, task, after ascending to the realm of the gods, join a sect. Of course, it must be a transcendental sect in the realm of the gods. If you don't meet the requirements, the system will choose to erase you directly. Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei was unwilling. What was this? Asking him to join a sect, and a super sect at that. Wasn't this a joke? Who would want him when he had just ascended to the realm of the gods? Ding dong, task note, the time limit for joining a sect must be over 1,000 years. If you quit halfway, the system has the right to erase you on the spot. The second requirement is that after the host joins a transcendental sect, the system will seal the 4 types of spiritual roots in the host's body. Of course, this seal can only be seen by you, and it has no direct relation to your cultivation. However, those who are investigating your cultivation and spiritual roots talent will not be able to find out. Similarly, you can't excessively display your talent in that sect. Listening to the system's instructions, Lin Rei's face became more and more gloomy. If he followed the system's instructions, wouldn't that mean that he would be a cripple? Sealing 1 type of spiritual root? He had a total of 4 types. If he were to be sealed, wouldn't that mean that he would become a cripple without any spiritual roots? At that time, who would let him join a sect? Thinking on the bright side, even if he did join a sect, who would put him in an important position? At most, he would be thrown into the miscellaneous disciple category and be left to fend for himself. As for the tasks mentioned by the little dragon just now, Lin Rei could barely accept the first 3, but Lin Rei really couldn't accept the last one. Wasn't this forcing him to a dead end? System, let me discuss something with you. You see, if you seal my spirit root, I'll be able to break it. At that time, don't even talk about a transcendental sect, even an ant-like sect would look down on me. Your task is simply impossible to complete. Can you see if you can seal the 3 types of spiritual roots and give me the thunder spiritual root? There was a moment of silence. Regarding the system's silence, Lin Rei could only feel even more heartache. He didn't know what kind of sin he had committed to meet these 2 things in this life. One was a scammer, the other a scammer. Looking at the silent system, Lin Rei knew that this matter had already been settled, and it was impossible to change it. Immediately, he hurriedly said to the system. Okay, I can accept this task. But you see, if I join another sect, the Xuanzong sect won't be able to take care of both. What do you think? Looking at Lin Rei's awkward expression, the system didn't wait for Lin Rei to finish speaking and said, Okay, I only said that you can establish a sect, but I didn't ask you to be the sect leader. But what you said is not without reason. Whoosh, whoosh. The moment the system finished speaking, 2 ear-piercing sounds were heard. Between them was a long spear with a 9-clawed divine dragon carved on the shaft. It was vivid and lifelike, and the dragon's power was real. It looked as if it was about to rush out and cross the 4 seas. The moment Lin Rei saw this long spear, he fell in love with it. He thought to himself that he had to get this long spear no matter what. Looking at the other side, there was the same divine power as the long spear. Suddenly, Lin Rei's top-grade celestial artifact set dimmed, as if it was suppressed by the divine power in front of him. However, Lin Li didn't find this strange. Aside from the spear with the 9 dragons engraved on it, the other item was a set of clothes. It was a complete set of clothes, and although it didn't look very extravagant, it gave off a sense of superiority. Even Lin Li couldn't help but feel the urge to kneel and worship it. Fortunately, Lin Rei's mind was firm. Otherwise, he would have knelt down and worshipped it. Phew, not bad, these 2 things are. Lin Rei's heart was itching for these 2 good things. He couldn't wait to grab them in his hands. Well, these 2 things are for you as compensation. These 4 tasks are indeed a bit difficult for you. Therefore, that long spear is the chaotic dragon spear. Don't underestimate the power of this divine spear. It has the dragon souls of 9 chaotic 9-clawed divine dragons sealed in it. Moreover, the entire spear body and the spear tip are made of chaotic iron, which is thousands of times more powerful than your martial emperor divine spear. However, because your current level is not high enough, the system has sealed it at the level of a middle-grade divine weapon. When your cultivation catches up, it will naturally be unlocked. Hiss. Lin Rei was stunned. The system's answer completely shocked Lin Rei. Looking at the long spear in front of him, Lin Rei's eyes were burning with passion. He wanted to test it immediately to see if this long spear was as powerful as the system said. Thinking of this, Lin Rei couldn't help but touch the chaotic dragon spear. However, just as his hand was about to touch the dragon spear, suddenly, a sense of crisis struck him. Chapter 450. Swoosh. Lin Li immediately gave up on his desire for the Chaos Dragon Spear and hurriedly retreated. Lin Li hurriedly retreated. A crescent-shaped wind blade flashed past him mercilessly with a terrifying aura. When he retreated to the side and narrowly avoided the attack, cold sweat trickled down his forehead. The fear in his heart did not lessen. Instead, it increased. As for that wind blade, Lin Li could clearly sense the killing intent contained within it. Instantly, Lin Li's anger surged. He didn't even need to think to know that the only person in the system who could do this to him was the system. However, after this incident, Lin Li was able to estimate the strength of the system. He was terrified, but at the same time, curious as to how powerful the system was. Don't touch it. I'm not done yet. At this moment, when that cold, robotic voice entered Lin Li's ears, Lin Li was instantly stunned. Although he knew that this was the work of the system, hearing it say such a thing, he couldn't help but be stunned. Humph, you're not allowed to touch it? Then why did you take it out? After hearing the system's words, Lin Rei rolled his eyes at the darkness above him. However, he did not touch the spear again. It was not that he did not want to touch it, but he did not dare to. He knew too little about the system. Therefore, Lin Rei did not have to be stubborn in this matter. Alright, time is limited. Let me quickly introduce another item to you. After this, you can do whatever you want. At this moment, the system seemed to be very anxious. It sped up its speech and introduced another item to Lin Rei. This set of equipment is called the Chaotic Inferno. Similarly, it is of the same grade as the Chaotic Dragon Spear. Because your current strength is too weak, I had no choice but to suppress the Chaotic Inferno's grade to the middle grade divine weapon. If you want to see the true strength of the Chaotic Inferno, you have to quickly increase your strength. I hope that day will come soon. After hearing the system's words, Lin Rei felt very helpless. He did not know why the system had to mention that his cultivation was too weak every time it introduced an item. However, Lin Rei could not refute it. In the end, he could only acquiesce. Alright, there are only 4 missions at the moment. However, you have to work hard to complete these 4 missions. For me, these are only basic missions. if you can't complete these missions, I won't waste my time. I will kill you immediately. After it finished speaking, the voice disappeared without a trace. Lin Rei was very angry at the system's words. In the past, he had always thought that the little dragon was enough to anger him. He did not expect the system to be added. Moreover, compared to the little dragon, the system was even worse. Time passed slowly. When he did not hear the system's voice again, Lin Rei dared to step forward. However, in order to prevent any tricks, Lin Rei slowly approached the two mid-stage god-grade treasures. When he finally grabbed the chaotic dragon spear, he did not feel any sense of danger. Lin Rei was relieved. Hee, I've finally caught you. However, just as he thought that everything was fine, a terrifying pressure suddenly appeared. Moreover, to Lin Rei's disbelief, this terrifying pressure was emitted from the chaotic dragon spear. In an instant, Lin Rei quickly retreated without saying anything. He gradually stopped when he was 100 meters away from the chaotic dragon spear. However, his gaze was fixed on the chaotic dragon spear's every move. He could not afford to be careless. Roar! Roar, roar! Roar! Instantly, a dragon's roar reverberated through the heavens, filling the entire system. What shocked Lin Li even more was that after the dragon's roar rang out, the entire system space began to tremble. The dragon's roar grew louder and louder. Just as it was about to shatter the entire space, a voice that Lin Rei was familiar with said, "Be quiet, or I'll eat you." In an instant, the dragon's roar disappeared. In the blink of an eye, only an aggrieved voice could be heard. Lin Rei could not be more familiar with this voice. It was the system's voice that had disappeared. Lin Rei's evaluation of the system was once again refreshed. Damn, this is too fierce. Lin Rei found it hard to believe. How powerful was the system? It could actually make that terrifying roar retreat with a cold snort. How powerful did it have to be? Lin Rei did not dare to imagine. Don't hide anymore. The chaotic dragon spear has been suppressed by me. Everything is fine now. Furthermore, I have already recognized you as its master. It won't dare to be so presumptuous in the future. At this moment, the system's voice sounded again. Lin Rei's body trembled. He smiled and said, "Hee, I know. After speaking, Lin Rei returned to the side of the chaotic dragon spear. This time, Lin Rei was no longer as timid as before. Instead, he closed his eyes, gritted his teeth, and gripped the chaotic dragon spear tightly. In an instant, a gentle energy entered his body. Lin Rei could not be bothered with the evil aura. He had to be on guard against this foreign energy. He immediately released his cultivation and divine sense. He hurriedly looked inside himself. Suddenly, a wave of energy entered his Dan palace. The moment the energy entered his Dan palace, his spirit opened its mouth and inhaled. In an instant, the energy uncontrollably entered the spirit's mouth. Lin Rei did not pay too much attention to this scene. Furthermore, he did not pay much attention to this small amount of energy. However, in an instant, waves of energy entered his body one after another. It was the same as the energy from before. The moment it entered his Dan palace, it was absorbed by his spirit. There were a total of 9 waves of energy. Lin Rei recalled that the system said that there were 9 nine-clawed dragon souls in the chaotic dragon spear. When he connected them together, it was just right. When he thought of this, Lin Li relaxed. He didn't care about the amount of energy he needed right now. He immediately withdrew his inner vision and returned to his body. He quickly sealed off his cultivation and divine sense. Lin Li, who had been so mighty before, now looked like a big brother next door. He couldn't sense any spiritual energy or cultivation at all. Phew. Finally, Lin Rei heaved a sigh of relief. Looking at the chaotic dragon spear in his hand, an excited smile appeared on his face. Hee, I finally got it. But honestly, it's a good item. If I use this item and my full strength, it'll be great if there's an immortal venerable here. I can also test my current cultivation base and see if it's comparable to an immortal venerable. Hee hee. One had to admit that Lin Ray was probably the only one who dared to have such thoughts. Lin Ray, who was constantly stroking the chaotic dragon spear, turned his gaze to the chaotic dragon spear. If the chaotic dragon spear is so powerful, this chaotic dragon spear should be pretty good too. Lin Ray forgot about the previous scene. He immediately went forward and grabbed the chaotic dragon spear. However, this time, there was no terrifying scene like before. Swish. However, even though there wasn't any terrifying scene, the moment Linley grabbed the primordial chaos, the originally dull and unadorned set suddenly lit up. Instantly, the blinding light caused Linley to close his eyes, unable to open them again. At the same time, a warm feeling that made Lin Ray relax gradually. After a long time, Lin Ray tried to open his eyes. At this moment, the light was gone. Lin Ray widened his eyes and found himself wearing the chaotic dragon spear. Crown, belt, clothes, accessories at the waist, a dragon head storage ring, and a pair of dragon treading boots. In an instant, an imposing aura swept across the surroundings. His slightly violet hair, his slightly red eyes, and his deity-grade primordial chaos set. Linley's current body was enough to make the entire immortal realm envious. Alright, stop acting cool. Hurry up and get out. You've been in here long enough. Just as Lin Ray was admiring himself, the system's cold voice sounded. Just as Lin Ray was about to say something, his body uncontrollably exited the system space. Damn it, can't you let me finish my sentence first? Why do you have the same bad temper as the little dragon? Can't you learn something better? Lin Ray bellowed furiously. Then, he opened his eyes and instantly, Lin Ray froze on the spot. At this moment, he was no longer under the shade of a tree at the back of the mountain. Instead, he was in a familiar room in Heavenly Blessing Village and on a bed. How? How is this possible? Why am I here? All of a sudden, questions popped up in Lin Ray's mind. He didn't understand why he was here. Besides, what did the system say about him being in here for too long? Lin Ray couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. Suddenly, Lin Ray felt a familiar sensation in his hand. He sat up from the bed and turned around to see the Chaos Dragon Spear clutched tightly in his hand under the blanket. The Chaotic Dragon Spear was also wearing the Chaotic Dragon Spear. Seeing this, Lin Ray was relieved. As for the other questions, they weren't important anymore. Just as Lin Ray was caressing the Chaos Dragon Spear in his hand, the door was pushed open. Lin Ray lifted his head and saw Lu Ying and Lin Yun looking at him emotionally as though they had been separated by life and death and were reborn. Young master, you've finally done it. Plop. Just as Lin Ray was wondering what was going on, Lu Ying, who was at the door, pounced into Lin Ray's arms and cried bitterly. Boo-hoo. This scene was too sudden and Lin Ray couldn't wrap his head around it. He didn't understand what was going on. However, Lin Ray wasn't disgusted by Lu Ying throwing herself into his arms. Moreover, wasn't the system's mission to make him and Lu Ying become Dao companions and get married? At this moment, it was just a matter of time. Looking at the crying Lu Ying in his arms, Linley hugged her with both hands. Neither of them said a word. As for Lin Yun, who was still waiting at the door, he tactfully left the room and closed the door behind him. Chapter 451. In the room, Lin Ray looked at Lu Ying, who was in his arms. His heart trembled for some reason and he closed his eyes for some reason. Time passed by slowly. Perhaps Lu Ying was tired from crying and fell asleep in Lin Ray's arms. She looked very cute. She pouted and her face was slightly red, making people want to kiss her. Haha. Looking at the sleeping Lu Ying in his arms, Lin Ray stood up with a smile on his face. His movements were very light, as if he was afraid of waking Lu Ying up. He carried Lu Ying and gently placed her on the bed. He covered her with a thick blanket and, for some reason, kissed Lu Ying on the lips before pushing the door open and leaving. Phew, when Lin Rei exited the room and came to the living room, his breathing suddenly became hurried and his heart raced. There was an unfathomable smile on his face. What's wrong with me? Could it be that I've really fallen for that girl? Lin Rei, who was standing at the door, didn't know that after he carried Lu Ying to the bed, Lu Ying was already awake. After that, Lin Rei's actions were all felt by Lu Ying after she woke up. Forget it, let nature take its course. After thinking for a long time, Lin Rei shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He walked out of the room and hesitated as he walked towards the back of the mountain. He wanted to get an accurate answer from his son and find out what was going on and why Lu Ying was like that. At this moment, Lu Ying didn't get up from the bed. She was still lying on the bed, but she had a very happy smile on her face. She placed one hand on the lips that Lin Rei kissed and couldn't forget it for a long time. At the spiritual field in the back of the mountain, Lin Rei was practicing the myriad sword art and silent thunder spear art that Lin Rei taught him. His movements were smooth and fluid. Even if he didn't use his cultivation, when he used the silent thunder spear, the sound of thunder on the long spear would make people's scalps go numb. The moment they heard it, they didn't want to go forward. As for Lin Rei, he had already arrived under the shade of the tree where he had previously sat. Looking at his son in the distance, who was using two martial skills with such proficiency, Lin Rei felt very gratified. The corners of his mouth curled up into a happy smile. At this moment, Lin Rei was holding the Chaos Dragon Spear in his hand. He was dressed in the Chaos robes. However, because he did not use his cultivation, the light around him was restrained. No one could see the power of this weapon. Clap, clap, clap. The more Lin Rei looked at Lin Yun, the more excited he became. In the end, he couldn't help but clap his hands, waking Lin Yun up from his practice. Just as he was about to get angry at the person who disturbed his cultivation, he suddenly turned around. The moment he saw his father again, he teleported in front of him. Father, why are you here? Lin Yun had a strange expression on his face as he looked around as if he was looking for something. Noticing Lin Yun's strange behavior, Lin Li asked, "What are you looking at?" "Hee, father, where's my little mother? Why isn't she here?" Lin Yun's words instantly made Lin Rei look embarrassed. He coughed and quickly changed the topic. Ahem. I came here to ask you why you're so excited to see me. Also, Lu Ying said that I've finally recovered. What's going on? Lin Yun didn't hide anything and quickly told him everything he knew. However, the more Lin Yun spoke, the more vivid Lin Rei's expression became. In the end, he screamed in shock. What? You said that I've been in a deep sleep for a year? This news was extremely shocking to Lin Rei. He only remembered that he had only been in the system for a while. Furthermore, there were only a few missions. It was impossible for such a long time to have passed. However, what was in front of him right now was true. A year had indeed passed. Lin Rei was very puzzled about this. Lin Yun didn't feel that there was anything wrong with his father's puzzled expression because in his eyes, his father was in a coma. For someone in a coma, they wouldn't know how many months had passed. At this moment, Lin Rei was silent. He was stunned for a moment before he shouted at the little dragon, hurry. Hurry up and come out. I have something to ask you." Silence. In the past, the little dragon would immediately come out to answer Lin Rei's questions. However, it didn't come out this time. As the saying goes, if something is abnormal, there must be a demon behind it. Lin Li firmly believed this without a doubt. As for why the little dragon hadn't come out, Lin Li was even more certain that Lin Yun was telling the truth about a year passing. He had really spent a year in the system. At this thought, Lin Rei's expression turned gloomy. According to the system, it was a 5-year mission. Now that a year had passed, Lin Rei panicked. He believed in the system's words without a doubt. He knew that the system would really erase him. Lin Ray panicked. At this moment, Lin Yun's heart thumped violently. A bad premonition arose in his heart. He was inexplicably afraid of his father's panicked expression. Ever since he recognized his father, he had never seen Lin Ray with such an expression. Just as Lin Yun was about to ask Lin Ray what happened, Lin Ray turned around and walked towards the Heavenly Blessing village at the foot of the mountain. He didn't turn back, nor did he care about his son who was talking. Sigh. Forget it, I can't help father. I should hurry up and improve my cultivation. Perhaps I can help father in the future. When Lin Ray's figure disappeared, Lin Yun once again picked up the spear and began to practice the silent thunder spear art. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, day had turned to night. Seeing that the sky was already dark, Lin Yun glanced at the faintly glowing spiritual field and turned to walk down the mountain. Nothing had happened to the spiritual field in the past 2 years. With the nourishment of the spiritual field, the crops had all turned into spiritual herbs. As for the spiritual herbs, after 2 years, they had grown very well. According to the age, the spiritual herbs here were indeed only 2 years old. But according to the real medicinal properties, the spiritual herbs here were probably 100 years old. This was also why the Xiantian absorption pouch was so precious. Not long after Lin Yun left, 2 streaks of light descended from the sky beside the spiritual field. One was fat and the other was thin, looking very comical. Moreover, they were of average height. Brother, look at the spiritual herbs in the spiritual field. Although they aren't very old, there are so many of them. It seems like someone planted them here. Why don't we go? Although that was what he said, the greed in his eyes overshadowed that of a division leader. Moreover, saliva was already dripping from his mouth, making him look like a pig. At this time, the thin man beside him heard his brother's words. He immediately turned his head and rolled his eyes. What do you know? Our identities are different now. Who are we? We are envoys of the White Elephant Empire. Now that we have encountered such a paradise, if we tell the Emperor about this spiritual field, then our relationship will be different. Don't you understand the saying, the boat rises with the tide? As he spoke, the thin man recklessly rushed to the spiritual field. He reached out and grabbed a vermilion fruit, then bit down on it. Hiss. Instantly, the vermilion fruit melted in his mouth. A stream of pure spiritual energy flowed from his throat into his dantian, making him feel refreshed. F***ck. Brother, I was wrong. Not only is this a spiritual field, it's also an extraordinary existence. You should know that the spiritual energy in this vermilion fruit is extremely vast, and the purity of the spiritual energy is comparable to the spiritual energy that we condense after refining the immortal spiritual energy for half a year. Having said that, the thin man began to pluck the vermilion fruit from his storage ring. The fat man naturally didn't want to fall behind, so he also joined in on the great task of plucking the vermilion fruit. At this moment, in the living room of the Lin family in Heavenly Blessing Village, Lin Yun, who had just returned to the dining table and was about to eat, suddenly looked towards the spiritual field behind the mountain. He had the urge to kill. It wasn't just Lin Yun, even Lin Ray had the same impulse. If he had known earlier, he would have set up a restriction when he was building the spiritual field. Apart from cultivators, ordinary people couldn't even get close. Furthermore, he had placed a strand of his divine sense in the spiritual field. Now that his divine sense was acting strangely, it meant that someone was stealing the spiritual herbs in the spiritual field. Let's go and see who dares to steal the spiritual herbs that I have painstakingly planted. As he spoke, Lin Ray took a step forward. When Lin Ray, who was sitting at the dining table, heard his father say that he had painstakingly planted the spiritual herbs, he was speechless. However, he also used his cultivation to catch up with Lin Ray and walked towards the spiritual field. The 3 of them quickly walked towards the back of the mountain. At this moment, the two people in the spiritual field seemed to have forgotten that someone who could plant so many spiritual herbs couldn't be ordinary. The two of them had already been blinded by the spiritual herbs in front of them. They only wanted to pluck the spiritual herbs and didn't care about anything else. A few minutes later, 3 people, 2 men and 1 woman, appeared next to the spiritual field that was originally empty. The fat and thin people had messed up the spiritual field, and most of the experience points had already been emptied. Instantly, Lin Ray's anger rose. Courting death. At this moment, Lin Yun saw his father's appearance. In an instant, before he could react, Lin Yun took the lead and rushed into the spiritual field. The Fire Stream 10,000 sword technique instantly appeared in his hand. Lin Yun used the 10,000 sword technique to its fullest potential. It wasn't very interesting, and the entire process was very smooth. It was very pleasing to the eye. However, the killing intent of the 10,000 sword technique was very real. Just as the sword was about to cut off the thin man's head, the thin man's figure suddenly disappeared. Lin Yun, who had used the 10,000 sword technique, missed. Immediately, he was very angry. He released his divine sense and instantly found the thin man's location. Immediately, he used the 10,000 sword technique. This time, Lin Yun didn't give him a chance to escape. Although there weren't 10,000 swords, there were still 1,000. The densely packed swords formed a wall of swords, pressing down on the skinny man with unparalleled strength. Chapter 452. At this moment, the skinny man's eyes were filled with fear when he saw the sword wall. He didn't think that he could break through the sword wall's power. Plop. Seeing the sword wall slowly approaching, the skinny man knew that he wasn't a hero. In the face of death, he chose to submit. Say. Senior, the envoy of the White Elephant Empire, Zhao Dezhu, and the one next to him is my younger brother, Zhao Buzhu. The two of us passed by and saw that the spiritual herbs here were abundant, so we wanted to pick some. Senior, we really didn't mean to. Please let us go. At this moment, the skinny man was kneeling on the ground, tears and snot dripping down his face as he kowtowed to Lin Yun with a regretful expression. Suddenly, Lin Yun's face stopped in front of the skinny man, unlike before. At this moment, the sword wall was only a hand away from the skinny man's body. If Lin Yun hadn't stopped in time, the skinny man would have already stepped into the gates of hell. Ah, can't cover. Your parents really know how to pick names. At this moment, Lin Ray, who was at the back, heard the names of the 2 men. Lin Ray even suspected that their mothers were playing around. These names were really. When Lin Ray's words reached the ears of the 2 men, they felt ashamed and resentful, but they didn't dare to resist. The sword wall was so close. If they flipped out now, they would undoubtedly be courting death. As the saying goes, where there's life, there's hope. They had to get out of danger first. Who knows what will happen in the future? Every dog has its day. Lin Yun was a little troubled by the pleas of the Zhao brothers. He looked at Lin Ray, wanting to ask for his opinion. Yes, let them go. Cultivation isn't easy to come by. I think what they said is true. Moreover, I'm not in the right condition to kill right now. However, I can let them go. Search their storage rings and bags clean. Want to steal from me? 2 words, no way. After saying that, Lin Ray didn't look at the Zhao brothers anymore. Instead, he pulled Luing to a tree next to the spiritual field, sat down, and admired the bright moon in the sky. At this moment, Luing was very happy. At the same time, her face blushed the moment Lin Ray pulled her. Now that she was shrouded in the moonlight, she looked exceptionally beautiful and otherworldly. Nothing could be more beautiful. On the other side, Lin Yun completely relayed Lin Li's words to the Zhao brothers. Regarding this, the Zhao brothers didn't say anything and hurriedly took out all the things they could save on their bodies. A look of gratitude on his face, he kowtowed towards Lin Li. Senior, these are all the things we have on us. Take a look. Should we?" After saying that, Zhao Dezhu raised his hand and pointed into the distance. His body was already leaning towards the distance, ready to leave at any time. Looking at the 6 storage rings on the ground, Lin Yun nodded and said to the 2, "I'll let you off this time since it's your first offense. But remember, don't tell anyone about this place after you leave. If I find out that you've told anyone about this place, don't mention the White Elephant Empire, even if it's a sect, I'll kill the 2 of you." After saying that, a murderous aura burst forth and rushed towards the 2 kneeling Zhao brothers. "Why yes, we understand. Don't worry, we definitely won't tell anyone about this place." After saying that, Zhao Dezhu hurriedly walked to the side and pulled his brother up from the ground. Then, he flew into the air and quickly flew into the distance. The green mountains don't change and the clear water flows forever. You've provoked the White Elephant Empire today, so wait for the White Elephant Empire's revenge. A reply was heard. Instantly, Lin Rei furrowed his brows, then recovered his calm expression. As for Lin Yun, after hearing these words, he was infuriated. He immediately prepared to release his cultivation and chase after them, but he was stopped by Lin Li. "Don't go, the 2 of them have already left. Even if you rush after them now, you might not be able to catch up. Moreover, according to them, they're envoys from the White Elephant Empire. That means that there might be companions ahead. What if you get ambushed if you rashly chase after them?" Lin Rei's words were very reasonable. Lin Yun gave up on the idea of chasing after them and turned to ask his father, "Then how should we deal with this matter? They've already informed the White Elephant Empire. What should we do?" Seeing his son's worried expression, Lin Rei stood up helplessly and turned to walk towards the Heavenly Blessing village. If they want to come, I don't mind letting the incident from a few years ago happen again." With that, Lin Rei left with Lu Ying and returned home to the Heavenly Blessing village. Lin Yun, on the other hand, remained in the spiritual field to prevent them from returning. Time passed day by day. It had been 5 days since the incident with the Zhao brothers from the White Elephant Empire. Lin Rei had been very comfortable in these few days. In these 5 days, the blurry barrier between Lin Rei and Lu Ying was finally broken, and the 2 of them naturally lived together. When Lin Yun heard this news, a smile appeared on his face. However, Lin Rei could see a trace of disappointment in Lin Yun's eyes. Lin Rei was very helpless about this. He knew that he owed Lin Yun's mother, Yao but he had no choice. Lin Rei didn't have any feelings for Yao at all. That was a mistake back then. However, to Lin Rei, Lin Yun was everything. Thus, Lin Rei enjoyed Lin Yun personally and imparted everything he knew to Lin Yun. This was also a form of compensation for what he did to Yao back then. And when Lin Yun found out about his father's relationship with Lu Ying, he immediately called Lu Ying his stepmother. However, to Lin Rei, who was living together, this wasn't a mission in his eyes. It was because he really liked Lu Ying. Of course, since things had already turned out this way, the mission was only natural. On this day, Lin Rei asked Lin Yun to buy some red candles for his wedding and decorate the house. Finally, he invited the Tian family over for a meal. The scene that was supposed to be lively wasn't lively at all. Just as Lin Rei was about to carry Lu Ying into the bridal chamber, a terrifying aura swept over. Lin Rei was very unhappy about this. Looking at the source of the aura, Lin Rei's eyes flashed with murderous intent. King dogs. How dare you cause trouble on my wedding day? Even if you're from the White Elephant Empire, I'll turn you into ruins. At this moment, Lin Rei was really angry. Marriage was something that Lin Rei looked forward to very much. Causing trouble at this moment was undoubtedly courting death. Yao go. Take this spear and kill them for me. Don't be afraid. You still have the Xuanzong Sect behind you. Even if the Xuanzong Sect can't do it, Father will support you. As he spoke, Lin Rei took out the Martial Emperor Divine Spear that he wanted to give him previously. The moment the Martial Emperor Divine Spear appeared, a bone-chilling light flickered on the tip of the spear, causing people's hearts to palpitate. Father, are you really going to give this spear to me? Looking at the spear in front of him, he clearly remembered that this was the weapon that his father had always used. Moreover, countless experts had died under this spear. Now that his father was giving it to him, he felt incomparably honored. What was this? This was an acknowledgement of him. Then, he grabbed the Martial Emperor Divine Spear and nodded at Lin Ray. Father, don't worry. I'll definitely kill all those bastards who disturb you in the bridal chamber. Then, I'll fertilize our spiritual fields. With that, Lin Yun's body disappeared on the spot. At this moment, in the room, the Tian family was completely stunned. After being here for so many years, they never knew that Lin Ray's wife was a cultivator. Therefore, when they saw this scene, they were extremely shocked. As for Tanaka C's wife, Liao Yu, her expression and actions were all seen by Lin Ray. At this moment, Liao Yu had already returned to normal. Regarding Lin Yun's actions just now, she only frowned slightly and was a little surprised. She didn't do anything else, unlike Tanaka C, who was full of respect for Lin Ray after knowing that Lin Yun was a cultivator. I didn't expect this woman's cultivation to be so high. After seeing Yun's cultivation, she was only slightly surprised. It seems that this place is really getting more and more interesting. After that, Lin Ray ignored Tanaka C and Liao Yu. Instead, he brought his newlywed wife, Lu Ying, to the door and looked up at Lin Yun, who was already flying in the air. They had arrived at the place where the pressure was released. You guys really don't know how to repent. I couldn't have let you guys go back then. You guys didn't repent and even dared to disturb my wedding. Today, I'll make sure you guys don't leave. At this moment, Lin Yun released his cultivation and arrived at the place where the pressure was released. What shocked Lin Yun was that after he arrived, there were hundreds of people waiting there again. Among them were his roommates, the Zhao brothers who stole the elixir 5 days ago. Ha, kid, that was a sneak attack back then. It's different today. My young master is here, so you and that damn father of yours are destined to die. At this moment, the skinny man, Zhao Dezhu, who was standing in the crowd, heard Lin Yun's words and immediately brought up the middle-aged man who was leading the group. However, at the end of his words, the skinny man couldn't help but look at Lu Ying, who was looking up from the heavenly blessing village with a lascivious smile. As for your father's wife, she won't have it easy. With so many of us here, we'll definitely make her feel good. Isn't that right, brothers? Zhao Dezhu's words made everyone look at Lu Ying. In the end, they all shouted with the same expression as Zhao Dezhu. At this moment, Lin Yun didn't talk nonsense. Instead, he held the Martial Emperor Divine Spear in his hand and instantly performed the Silent Thunder Spear art. Silent Thunder Kill. In an instant, Lin Yun, who was originally still on the spot, disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already beside Zhao Dezhu, whose mouth was full of shit. The divine spear pierced towards Zhao Dezhu's head with a terrifying pressure. Chapter 453. No, don't. Sensing the approaching danger, Zhao Dezhu hurriedly looked at the leader for help. However, to his disappointment, the leader's eyes were filled with indifference and mockery. Seeing this scene, Zhao Dezhu wanted to run away, but it was too late. Puff! The Martial Emperor Divine Spear directly pierced through Zhao Dezhu's head. His vitality disappeared the moment it pierced through the field, and his body fell from the sky. Whoosh! Suddenly, a palm-sized mini-version of Zhao Dezhu poked his head out of the falling corpse. He thought there was no danger, but he instantly flashed out and fled toward the distant sky. At this moment, Zhao Dezhu only wanted to survive, let alone revenge. He didn't think about anything else. Zhao Dezhu, who was in a soul state, couldn't care so much. He immediately consumed a lot of soul power in order to speed up his escape. However, man proposes, God disposes. Just as Zhao Dezhu's soul poked out of the corpse, Lin Yun knew Zhao Deju's intention. "Oh, you want to leave? Do you think it's possible?" Suddenly, a cold voice came from the front. Zhao Deju's soul instantly stopped flying and looked forward in horror. At this moment, Lin Yun was standing in front of him with a spear in his hand, like a god of war. "No, no, no. Senior, I was possessed for a moment. It's my fault. My body is already gone. If my divine soul dissipates, then I will really disappear from this world. Senior, I was wrong. Please forgive me." At this moment, Zhao Deju was kneeling on the ground and begging Lin Yun with tears and snot, but this time, it was not like the last time. Looking at Zhao Deju, who was kneeling in the air and kowtowing, Lin Yun sneered and said, "Oh. I let you go last time, but you obviously don't know how to cherish it. Today, you came to disturb my father's wedding day. This crime can only be offset by your death." As he spoke, Lin Yun moved. In order to prevent Zhao Deju from escaping, Lin Yun had set up a restriction before coming here, so Lin Yun wasn't worried about him escaping at all. However, you don't have to worry. You won't be alone. Everyone here will die because you've disturbed someone you can't afford to offend. So, die in peace. After saying that, Lin Yun didn't waste any more time and disappeared from his original spot. When he reappeared, Lin Yun's hand was already grabbing the crying Zhao Deju. This time, Lin Yun didn't show any mercy. Immortal spiritual energy surged and the mini Zhao Deju was instantly crushed by Lin Yun. At this moment, under the eaves of the Heavenly Blessing Village, Lin Rui looked at his son's actions. Only by doing this could he leave with peace of mind and hand over the sect to him. At this moment, Lin Rui's test for Lin Yun had begun. At this moment, Lin Yun was completely unaware that he had unknowingly participated in the test of the sect master. At this moment, Lin Yun only had one thought in his mind, and that was to kill all those who disturbed his father's wedding night. After killing Zhao Deju, Lin Yun removed the restriction around him and arrived in front of the 100 cultivators. Looking at these 100 cultivators, Lin Yun didn't have a trace of fear in his heart. His battle intent soared to a peak. "Humph, who else dares to fight with me?" Filled with the cultivation of a golden immortal, he roared at the invaders in front of him and his killing intent swept out. At this moment, the leader of the White Elephant Empire's group heard Lin Yun's shout and smiled. "Little child, you should go back. You're not my match. Apart from these two pieces of trash, everyone else here is of a higher level than you. Go and call your parents out. Have them obediently hand over the spirit field and I might spare your worthless lives. That's right, hurry up and call your parents out. Don't let a shit-eating child like you come out. Aren't you ashamed? Ha 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 ha. That's right, I reckon your hair isn't even fully grown yet." Instantly, a wave of mockery entered Lin Yun's ears. Looking at the 100 people in front of him, Lin Yun didn't retreat. Instead, his battle intent and killing intent surged. "You only know how to talk fast. If you have the guts, come out and fight. I'll let you see the cultivation of this shit-eating child. Let's see if you can beat a child who isn't even fully grown yet." Lin Yun wasn't angry at their words. After all, their mouths belonged to others and he couldn't control them. Therefore, he could only kill them to prove how obvious their mockery was. Although he knew that the other party's cultivation was higher than his, Lin Yun was confident that he could kill most of them. As for the leader, Lin Yun knew that he didn't have the ability to do so because he could feel that this person was very strong. "Humph, I'll fight with you." At this moment, a middle-aged man among the 100 cultivators was enraged when he heard Lin Yun's words. He held a 3-foot-long cold light in his hand and quickly arrived in front of Lin Yun. Without any nonsense, he immediately started the battle. Gale's sword art, kill. In an instant, the middle-aged man's long sword carried something. With his cultivation at the mid-stage immortal monarch realm, he instantly executed the Gale sword art. Immediately, the surrounding wind seemed to be affected by the middle-aged man and slowly began to form wind blades that slashed towards Lin Yun. His killing intent and power were overwhelming as he charged towards Lin Yun with an unstoppable momentum. "Humph, how dare you act so presumptuously?" At this moment, when he saw the middle-aged man executing the Gale sword art, his heart trembled. Although he was a little surprised, he quickly regained his composure and put away the martial emperor divine spear. In an instant, the fire stream 10,000 magic sword appeared in his hand. 10,000 sword art. First form, 10,000 sword art. In an instant, the fire stream 10,000 magic sword floated in front of Lin Yun. Strange seals danced on Lin Yun's fingertips and a terrifying pressure appeared. The seals formed faster and faster, and many phantoms of the fire stream 10,000 magic sword began to appear around the fire stream 10,000 magic sword. More and more phantoms appeared and formed a sword wall. "Humph, Gale sword art? Damn it, it might as well be called spring breeze. It has no power at all. Go to hell." At this moment, Lin Yun was filled with killing intent. This move was enough to kill the man in front of him. "Go to hell." With a roar, Lin Yun grabbed the fire stream 10,000 magic sword floating in front of him and instantly controlled the sword wall to charge towards the middle-aged man. Whoosh! The speed of the sword wall was very fast, so fast that it was unbearable. Bang! In an instant, the sword wall and the wind blade made of wind collided. But what was unbelievable was that the wind blade was easily cut into pieces by the sword wall, and the sword wall rushed towards the middle-aged man who was using the Gale sword art without any speed. How? How is this possible? Impossible. You're only in the zenith heavenly realm. You can't possibly shatter my attack. The middle-aged man was in disbelief. Then, he sent another wave of wind blades at the sword wall. But the result was the same as before. It shattered without any comparison. Impossible. It shouldn't be like this. At this moment, the middle-aged man was in a daze. After so many attempts, he still lost to the young man who was insulting him under the blanket. Now, he had been slapped in the face and lost all his face. PFFF. 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 While the middle-aged man was still in a state of disbelief, the sword wall charged towards the middle-aged man and pierced through his body without any hesitation. In an instant, the middle-aged man's corpse was pierced through by the sword wall. Not to mention his divine soul, even his physical body was destroyed by the sword wall, not to mention his divine soul. An immortal monarch expert, an expert of a region, was killed by a cultivator with a lower cultivation than him. This kind of grievance was incomprehensible to ordinary people. Hiss. At this moment, the 100 people who came with Bai Xiang all sucked in a breath of cold air. The way they looked at Lin Yun had changed. When they saw their comrade being killed, they already regarded Lin Yun as someone of the same level. There was no more contempt, no more humiliation, and there was a reverence that they had never felt before. Humph, who wants to fight? At this moment, Lin Yun, who had used the myriad sword art once, had exhausted some of his immortal qi. However, he could still use it a few more times. But at this moment, Lin Yun's face was a little pale. Although the myriad sword art was an emperor-grade cultivation technique, the person who used it had to have a high cultivation dense immortal qi to be able to use it. For example, Lin Rei's immortal qi was very pure. It wouldn't be a problem even if he used it 100 times. Moreover, each time he used it, it would be stronger than the last. This was directly related to the density of his immortal qi. At this moment, the 100 people on Bai Xiang's side were hesitating. If they hadn't seen Lin Yun's ability, perhaps they would have rushed up to fight. But now, it was different. Lin Rei's strength had shocked them. It could even be said that they were afraid. A few minutes later, the sky was silent. No one made a sound. Suddenly, the face of the leader of Bai Xiang sank. Humph, a bunch of useless things. Is this enough to scare you? The leader felt that he had lost face. He immediately turned his head and reprimanded the people he had brought with him. But when he saw that they all had their heads lowered, he immediately stopped reprimanding them and turned to one of the 100 people. Long Ji, you go. This time, you must kill this person. Snatch his spear and sword for me. If possible, snatch his cultivation technique as well. He pointed at a very bashful youth. At this moment, the leader didn't forget the greed in his heart. Humph, greedy bastard. When Lin Yun heard the words of the leader of Bai Xiang's side, disgust rose in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew that he wasn't strong enough, he would have already rushed up to fight. At this moment, Long Ji, who was pointed at, suddenly trembled. His eyes were filled with fear as he kept dodging. Chapter 454. However, no matter how Long Ji dodged, the outcome of the battle was set in stone and could not be changed. Everyone's gaze turned to the timid Long Ji, their eyes filled with schadenfreude. Humph, hurry up and go. It's best if he dies. That way, the young master of the Long family can rightfully inherit the position of the Long family patriarch. Humph, hurry up and die. He's just a piece of trash. It doesn't matter if he dies. At this moment, everyone had their own ulterior motives. Everyone was filled with hatred for this young man called Long Ji. They all wanted him to die in this battle. Time slowly passed. When everyone saw that Long Ji was still standing there, they were furious. The leader was even more furious as he roared at Long Ji. Long Ji, hurry up and get out of here. You have to fight even if you don't want to. This is unchangeable. In one sentence, it directly blocked Long Ji's way. After everyone heard the words of the leader, their eyes were even more unscrupulous as they threw a look of contempt. At this moment, when Long Ji saw that he couldn't avoid it, he raised his head. Immediately, he saw the gazes of everyone around him. For a moment, Long Ji was extremely angry at everyone's disdainful gazes. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Although Long Ji was roaring in his heart, it was unavoidable. He steeled his heart, lifted his foot, and walked out of the crowd. A trace of envy flashed in Long Ji's eyes as he looked at the awe-inspiring Lin Yun. He also wanted to be like Lin Yun, who could fight 100 people by himself without fear of offending Long Ji. He also wanted to have that kind of spirit. Seeing this, Long Ji revealed a self-deprecating smile and instantly swung his halberd. He arrived in front of Lin Yun in an instant and launched a flurry of stabs. At this moment, Lin Yun didn't remember to make a move. Instead, he looked at the way Long Ji used the halberd and was puzzled. Although Long Ji's attacks were disorderly, there was a trace of killing intent in the chaos. If it wasn't for the fact that he was familiar with the spear, he would have been stabbed and killed by Long Ji. Lin Yun was shocked, but at the same time, he was interested in this young man. He didn't continue to make a move. Instead, he wanted to see how strong Long Ji was. Ha, mad dragon pierce, break for me. Immediately, Long Ji saw that his attack had no effect on the person in front of him. Immediately, his heart sank and he used his martial skill. At this moment, the halberd seemed to have come to life. It transformed into a flood dragon and arrived before Lin Yun in an instant. Its might shocked Lin Yun. As expected, although his personality is timid, his martial skills are indeed very powerful. Even if it is the person who was killed before, if compared with this Long Ji, I believe that Long Ji can win. Looking at Long Ji's performance, Lin Yun admired him more and more. He even had the urge to recruit him. When the leader of White Elephant's side saw this scene, his heart sank and his face turned cold. He had an urge to kill. I didn't expect this coward to be so strong. After fighting for such a long time, he still hasn't lost. Could it be that I really underestimated him before? Sigh, looks like I have to be careful in the future. I didn't expect this kid to be so strong. Long Ji's performance exceeded everyone's expectations. At the same time, everyone hated Long Ji even more, especially those who wanted him dead. At this moment, under the roof of the Heavenly Blessing Village's Lin family, Lin Rei smiled as he looked at the battle in the sky. He then took out a pill from his storage ring and handed it to Liao Xing. Give this pill to Yun. Tell him that if he wants to do it, then don't hesitate. After saying that, Lin Rei turned his gaze back to the battle in the sky. Lin Rei guessed his son's thoughts correctly. This battle could have ended long ago. But Lin Rei didn't make a move. Instead, he looked at Liao Xing with admiration. Seeing this, Lin Rei knew that his son wanted to accept this person. I'm going. Liao Xing took the pill from Lin Rei's hand and disappeared. When Liao Xing saw Liao Xing again, she was already beside Lin Yun. Humph. When she arrived beside Lin Yun and saw that Long Ji was still attacking, Liao Xing snorted coldly and raised her hand to suppress Long Ji. In an instant, Long Ji, who had already raised his halberd, let out a cold snort and stopped moving in midair. In response, Bai Xiang's group of 100 people was filled with astonishment. SSS. What? What kind of cultivation is this? How? At this moment, everyone didn't know what to do. Just a cold snort from this unfamiliar woman could stop an immortal monarch expert. What kind of cultivation was this woman? Everyone wanted to retreat. They wanted to leave this place. However, when facing such an expert, their legs no longer listened to their own commands. Little mother. Seeing that Long Ji was frozen in place, Lin Yun turned his head and saw Luing standing behind him. Lin Yun asked Luing with a puzzled expression. Little mother, why are you here? Here, this is what your father gave you. He told you to do as you wish. With that, Luing casually threw the pill away and it turned into a ray of light that flew into Lin Yun's hand. Be careful, I'll be leaving first. Liao Xing was swift and decisive. Before Lin Yun could say anything, she had already disappeared. Lin Yun was helpless about this. Holding the pill in his hand, Lin Yun was pleasantly surprised. He looked at Lin Rei with a smile and walked towards Long Ji. Step by step, he walked to Long Ji's side. At this moment, Bai Xiang's side was overjoyed. They all thought that Long Ji was dead for sure. Lin Yun said, I know you're angry, but don't worry. As long as you follow me, you won't be humiliated like before. You'll become a god that they worship. Without asking for Long Ji's consent, he directly took the medicinal pill in his hand and stuffed it into Long Ji's mouth. With one hand, immortal qi, he controlled Long Ji's throat and the medicinal pill immediately melted into Long Ji's body. At the same time, Long Ji retreated to the side and looked at Lin Yun suspiciously. He had clearly heard Lin Yun's words, but he still doubted why Lin Yun would choose him if that was the case. However, he didn't understand why Lin Yun would choose him. But before he could think about it, the suspicion and hatred in his heart towards the spear-wielding man completely disappeared, replaced by reverence. With a plop, Long Ji walked to Lin Yun's side and kowtowed, I, Long Ji, greet master. Hiss, what, how can this be? This, pill, yes, that pill just now, it must be. At this moment, the Bai Xiang Empire's people saw Long Ji's abnormal behavior and thought of the pill just now. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and their faces were filled with shock. Who is this family? Why is it like this? Could this be a place where experts live in seclusion? The middle-aged man's brain was very strong. At the same time, after Luing's appearance, he wanted to retreat and didn't want to be online. Now that he saw a person become so obedient with just a pill, he immediately regretted it. He regretted listening to the Zhao brothers' instigation and coming to find some spiritual field. The happiest person was Lin Yun. Looking at Long Ji in front of him, he was delighted and said, "Get up." Yes. Long Ji automatically went behind Lin Yun and respectfully stood in place, staring at the people in front of him. Who else? Step forward. Lin Yun said to the White Elephant Empire's group, but his gaze was fixed on the leader of the group. His gaze was filled with battle intent, as if he was itching to fight a battle. The leader of the Baixiang Empire also saw Lin Yun's gaze. He sneered at Lin Yun and said, "You want to fight me? Don't you think you're not qualified?" The man's words made Lin Yun frown. His anger surged and his fighting spirit couldn't be restrained. He rushed towards the middle-aged man with a fearless appearance. "Okay, since you're so confident, I'll fight you." As he spoke, a jade flute suddenly appeared in the middle-aged man's hand. But Lin Yun didn't relax in the slightest, because when the middle-aged man took out the jade flute, a terrifying pressure instantly swept over. Humph. Facing the pressure, Lin Yun coldly snorted and used his cultivation to counteract the pressure. Although his body still felt heavy, it was much better than before. "I am Baixiang Empire's Huiqiu." After Huiqiu finished reporting his name, his body disappeared. Seeing this scene, Lin Yun was startled. He immediately used his divine sense to search for traces of Huiqiu. However, Lin Shui's face became more and more gloomy as a bad premonition surged in her heart. Suddenly, the sound of a flute echoed. Lin Yun immediately used his divine sense to search for the source of the sound, but he was disappointed. The sound came from all directions and was becoming more and more intense. PFFF. Just as Lin Yun was probing Huiqiu's silhouette, he felt a sense of danger behind him. But before Lin Yun could react, an unknown attack cut through his arm, leaving a deep gash in his arm. Crimson blood flowed out and dripped to the ground. But fortunately, it was only flesh that was cut. Moreover, if Lin Yun hadn't dodged, his entire arm would have been crippled. The pain surged in his heart, but Lin Yun didn't have the time to care about his bleeding arm. Instead, he focused on sensing his surroundings. At this moment, Lin Yun knew that if he was careless, it wouldn't be his arm that was cut, but his head. Chapter 455. Heaven's Net Palm, Die. Bang! Before Lin Yun could react, an earth-shattering palm print had already arrived in front of him. 1 palm, 2 palms, 3 palms. Bam! 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 Just like that, the Heaven's Net Palm landed on Lin Yun's chest, 1 palm after another. PFFF. Lin Yun spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. There was no sign of life in him and his aura was so weak that it made people panic. When Huiqiu saw that Lin Yun had been hit, he appeared and looked at him coldly with disdain and mockery. At this moment, Lin Yun, who had been severely injured by Huiqiu's Heaven's Net Palm, could no longer support himself in the air. In an instant, his body fell to the ground. Ah! Cough cough. A self-deprecating sound came out of his mouth as he weakly muttered to himself, "Ah, I thought I could do it, but I didn't expect to lose in the end. I was so thoroughly defeated that I couldn't even fight back." Lin Yun closed his eyes and prepared to accept his death. Suddenly, a pair of warm hands hugged him and a stream of pure immortal energy flowed into his body, healing his injuries. "Don't move, just focus on healing your injuries. I, Lin Rei, will never let anyone bully my son. If news of this were to spread, then I wouldn't be a good father." Lin Yun, who had his eyes closed, felt warmth in his heart. He didn't even need to think to know that only Lin Rei, his father, could treat him like this. At the same time, Lin Rei's voice could be heard clearly. His tone was filled with anger and killing intent. Poor Lin Rei, at this moment, was really angry. Soon, he brought Lin Yun to the Lin family's house in Heavenly Blessing Village. He put Lin Yun down and stuffed a healing pill into Lin Yun's ear. "You can focus on healing your injuries here. You've already done a good job. Leave the rest to me." With that, Lin Rei stood up and said to Lu Ying, "Look after Yun Er. It won't be hard for him to move around if he stays here." He believed that if he didn't give the order, Lu Ying would have already followed him into battle. I got it. Don't worry and go." Fighting is a man's job. I'm only responsible for looking after the house. Hearing Lu Ying's words, Lin Rei felt helpless. He didn't think that his newly married wife would say something like that, but this was just what he wanted to kiss. Okay, I'm going. With that said, the primal chaos dragon spear appeared in his hand as a surge of killing intent burst out from his body. Ow! Ow! Dragon roars that gave off desolate and tyrannical auras soared into the sky, making it impossible for anyone to refute. 1, 2, 3, 9. In the end, 9 dragon roars rang out, leaving everyone stunned. How could this be? This spear actually imprisons the 9 heavens azure dragon. This doesn't make sense. At this moment, Liao Yu, who was by Lin Li's side, sensed that the 9 dragon roars were coming from the spear in Lin Li's hand. Instantly, his face was filled with shock as he watched this scene. Not only Liao Yu, but even Hu Qiu was shocked. The dragon roars, coupled with the unprecedented murderous aura, made him panic. Impossible, it's impossible for anyone to have such a strong murderous aura. Yes, I must be mistaken. Yes, I must be mistaken. Hu Qiu couldn't believe what he was seeing. He had been deluding himself, but was it really useful? My reverse scale is irreversible. Today, you've touched my reverse scale, so there's only one outcome for you, death. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was under the roof of the Lin family, lifted his head and looked at Hu Qiu in the sky. His murderous intent surged. At this moment, he couldn't think of anything else. His only thought was to kill them and avenge his son. Whoosh! Lin Rei, who was holding the chaotic dragon spear, disappeared from under the roof of the Lin family in a flash. When he reappeared, he was already in the sky, facing Hu Qiu. Lin Rei didn't open his eyes to look at the person who had hurt his son. Facing an early immortal emperor, Lin Rei didn't put him in his eyes. He was able to kill immortal emperors when he was in the immortal monarch realm, let alone now that he was also in the immortal emperor realm. Moreover, he had the chaotic dragon spear and the chaotic dragon spear. If he still couldn't kill a immortal emperor expert, he would probably die of depression. Oh, the old one has come after beating the young one. But I think you're just like your useless son. But if you give me the spiritual field, maybe I'll let your family go. Suddenly, Lin Rei heard a voice that made him uncomfortable. Instantly, he frowned and his murderous intent surged. Lin Li didn't waste any words. He didn't need to pay any attention to this clown who was busy talking to himself. If you hurt my son, you'll have to pay with your limbs. If you hurt my son, Lin Rei paused for a moment. However, when Hu Qiu heard this, he asked out of curiosity, if I hurt your son, what's wrong? If you hurt my son, you'll have to pay with the lives of your entire family. As the saying goes, if you can fight, don't make a fuss. After saying this, Lin Rei's body began to blur until he disappeared from Hu Qiu's sight. As the saying goes, give someone a taste of their own medicine. At this moment, Lin Rei was planning to kill him in the same way that he had hurt his son. Hu Qiu was shocked when he saw Lin Rei suddenly disappear. He immediately used his divine sense to search for Lin Rei's location. However, his divine sense was empty. There was no one there. Suddenly, an ominous feeling rose in his heart. You hurt my son and almost lost your life. Then, I'll let you have a taste of what it means to be a human rod. The cold voice came from all directions, to the point that Hu Qiu couldn't even tell where Lin Li was. However, when he heard the words, human rod, his heart trembled, and his face darkened. Obviously, he knew what human rod meant. I'm the son of the White Elephant Empire's Emperor Huashan. Do you think you can kill me? At this moment, Hu Qiu understood that he had no power to fight back against the person in front of him. The only way to save his life was to bring up his family background. Only then would he have a chance to survive. White Elephant Empire? Never heard of it. Moreover, when did I say I was going to kill your mother? I said I was going to kill your son to vent my anger. Looking at the clown in front of him, Lin Rei teased him unhurriedly. As for the White Elephant Empire that this idiot was talking about, he had never heard of it. However, he had heard of Proud Heaven and Kueishui. Moreover, these two empires were destroyed under the blanket. Hearing this, Huiqiu was dumbfounded. He didn't expect this person to be so indifferent when he mentioned the White Elephant Empire. Suddenly, he was scared. He was really scared. Then, he turned to leave. However, Lin Rei already had his eyes on his prey. How could he escape? Don't you think it's too late to leave? Since you hurt my son, you must stay. But don't worry, I'll let someone pass a message to the White Elephant Empire. Just say that I, Lin Rei, will once again welcome the White Emperor. After saying this, a golden light streaked across the sky and rushed towards Huiqiu's left arm. The speed of the golden light was so fast that Huiqiu felt it, but he didn't have any chance to escape. Puff! The arm that was pierced by the golden light was separated from his body. Ah! Ah ah ah! Suddenly, Huiqiu screamed like a pig being slaughtered. His voice was hoarse and unbearable. Because his arm was cut off, the pain made Huiqiu's whole body twist. He hated the person in front of him to the extreme. At the same time, he didn't dare to show it. He could only scream in pain and think of a way to escape. At this moment, Lin Rei had already appeared in front of the hundreds of people. He didn't have the chance to see Huiqiu screaming in pain behind him. Looking at the hundreds of people in front of him, Lin Rei's eyes were full of ruthlessness and indifference. He looked at them as if they were already dead, making them panic. Following him can only mean that you have a bad life. Listening to others can only mean that you are too greedy. A person with a bad life and greed living in this world is a waste. It's better for you to die. After saying this, he raised the chaotic dragon spear. Waves of red energy that made people's hearts palpitate flowed out from the spear and surrounded the crowd. Say, Senior, please let us go. We won't dare to do this again. Moreover, we were forced to come here by Huiqiu. We didn't want to come here. That's right, Senior. We didn't come here willingly. It's all because of Huiqiu. Yes, it's all because of Huiqiu. He used his father's title to threaten us. That's right, that's right. Senior, please let us go. As the saying goes, when disaster strikes, everyone flies away separately. At this moment, they truly understood whether a person was a friend worth making. However, it was clear that none of these 100 people were willing to die for Huiqiu. Instead, they were all hoping that they would have a chance to survive if Huiqiu died. As I said, only one of you can survive. As for your life, it's up to you. After saying this, Lin Rei raised his hand and a restrictive spell was instantly set up, surrounding the crowd. Don't worry. This restrictive spell is just a prison. Only one of you will be able to leave safely. The rest of you will only have one ending, and that is death. After saying this, Lin Rei didn't look at them anymore and came to Huiqiu's side. At this moment, Huiqiu was no longer shouting. However, the hatred in his eyes was getting more and more intense. Haha, it's good that you hate me. It's good that you hate me. This way, you will have the motivation to live and I will also have the motivation to play. I will let you see how the White Elephant Empire, which is your so-called powerful backer, will be destroyed in your hands. Chapter 456. Huiqiu was shocked. Normally, people would show some respect to the White Elephant Empire. Even immortal emperors would take the White Elephant Empire into consideration. However, this person's eyes were filled with disdain and contempt. This was the first time he had seen such a situation. However, he was afraid. He was afraid that this person's words would really come true. If that happened, the White Elephant Empire would really be destroyed in his hands. You can't do this. Regardless of whether it was true or not, Huiqiu completely believed that this man could do it. He immediately helped Huiqiu up. Beg for mercy? Do you think you're qualified? You're now a prisoner, so you don't have the right to talk about conditions with me. After saying that, Huiqiu came back to his senses. Lin Rei instantly moved and disappeared in front of him. Star finger. Lin Rei reappeared in front of Huiqiu. Huiqiu had no strength to fight back, so he could only watch himself being tortured. Lin Rei used the star finger. His left index and middle fingers turned golden in an instant. Then, he stabbed Huiqiu's other arm with lightning speed. Pfff, Huiqiu screamed. At this moment, apart from his 2 legs, his 2 arms had been chopped off by Lin Rei. If he chopped off the other 2 legs, he would really become a human stick. Seeing Huiqiu screaming, Lin Rei did not continue. Instead, he retreated to the side and said to Long Ji, "Do you want to take revenge for your past humiliation? Do you want to stop being a coward? Then kill this person in front of you. Kill him and you'll no longer be a coward. You'll become a true cultivator and have the qualifications to be a sharp sword by Yun-Er's side. This is not only a test for you, but also your future." Lin Rei knew that Long Ji had been humiliated for a long time. His heart was extremely twisted. If he did not correct it now, he would not have the chance in the future. Can I really do it? At this moment, after listening to Lin Rei's words, Long Ji's eyes were filled with confusion and uncertainty. At the same time, there was also fear. He didn't know if this was the right thing to do, but there was a voice in his heart that kept telling him, "As long as you kill them, no one will humiliate you in the future. As long as you kill them, you will become a man. As long as you kill them, you will have a chance to go back and take your mother out. Only in this way can you protect your mother well. Only in this way can your mother not be bullied by the mistress of the Long family." Every time the voice in his heart said a word, Long Ji's heart in reality became clearer. Long Ji's eyes became clearer and clearer until finally, the previous cowardice, timidity, fear, terror, and confusion completely disappeared. At this moment, besides determination and killing intent, there was also the light of protection in his eyes. Many thanks. I know what to do. In the future, I will be a sharp sword by Master's side. Wherever my sword points, I will kill. Good. This child is worth teaching. The more Lin Rei looked at Long Ji, the more he liked him. If his son hadn't taken a fancy to him first, he would have probably taken him for his own use regardless of the cost. However, if Lin Yun knew about this, he would definitely despise his father and say, "You're even licking your own son's corner." However, in the end, Lin Rei gave up on the idea of taking Long Ji for his own use. Alright, stay by Yun-Er's side in the future. If you have any problems, you can ask Yun-Er for help. He will help you. After saying that, Lin Rei walked to the side and gave up his position to Long Ji so that he could get rid of the obstacles in his heart. Step by step, Long Ji walked to Huiqiu's side. The hatred in his eyes instantly rushed out of his body. He instantly released his immortal monarch cultivation and tightly grasped the heavenly halberd in his hand. Huiqiu, have you ever thought that this day would come for you? However, I'm not like you. I know that you're suffering right now. I won't torture you. I'll give you a quick death, even if you didn't bully my mother. Thank you. Thank you. Hearing Long Ji's words, Huiqiu didn't feel resentful or angry. Instead, he smiled and said to Long Ji before closing his eyes and waiting for death to come. Sigh. When Lin Rei saw this scene, he didn't say anything. Instead, he sighed and didn't look at him anymore. Pfff, a terrifying sound pierced through the air. Just as Long Ji was ready, the heavenly halberd was instantly aimed at Huiqiu's heart. In the end, Huiqiu ended up dead. Moreover, he died in the hands of the person he had always humiliated and ridiculed. With a plop, Long Ji knelt on the ground after killing Huqiu. Tears flowed down his cheeks. Everything is over. Everything is over. Mother, wait for me. Wait for me to come back and pick you up. Ah, suddenly, just as Lin Li and Long Ji were silent, a series of miserable screams rang out from nearby. At this moment, a life and death battle had already begun within the restriction. Everyone's eyes were filled with bestiality. In their eyes, there was only survival and themselves. Looking at this ugly scene, Lin Rei's eyes were filled with coldness. Originally, he wanted to keep one of them alive to inform the White Elephant Empire. But now, for Long Ji, there was no need for that. Ha, if that's the case, then there's no need for you to keep them alive. However, you injured my son. This is unforgivable. After making up his mind, Lin Rei instantly activated the Azura Spear Art. Rings of red energy surrounded the 100 people within the restriction. Azura Soul Devouring. In an instant, the Azura Spear Art's first move, Soul Devouring, was activated. A terrifying energy that could devour souls entered the Dan Palace of the 100 people within the restriction and began to devour their souls bit by bit. Ah! Screams came from within the restriction. At this moment, the restriction was completely surrounded by red energy. It was impossible to see what was happening inside. However, just listening to the screams was enough to make one's heart tremble. If they really saw what was happening inside the restriction, they would probably have nightmares for the rest of their lives. Lin Rei didn't do anything to ease the restriction. Instead, he allowed it to devour the souls of the 100 cultivators. Divine Soul, in its beautiful name, was cultivated by every cultivator. Humans had souls, but cultivators cultivated their divine souls. Divine Soul was the foundation of a cultivator. If the divine soul was destroyed, it would completely disappear from this world, never to be reincarnated. Time passed by slowly. Finally, after half an hour, there were no more screams coming from within the restriction. Lin Rei then kept the chaotic dragon spear back into the system. Ah, this little episode is over. Let's go back and see how Yun-Er is doing. He didn't have the chance to talk to the people in the restriction. Instead, he said something to Long Ji and flew towards the Lin family in Heavenly Blessing Village. He didn't dare to disobey Lin Rei's orders. Immediately, he chased after Lin Rei. The moment they left, the restriction disappeared. The 100 corpses lost their souls and the power of the restriction. They instantly fell from the sky. Everyone had a painful expression on their faces. Everyone was covered in wounds. It wasn't clear whether they were caused by themselves or by others. The whole situation was too horrible to look at. At this moment, at the entrance of the Lin family, Lin Rei landed with Long Ji. Looking at Lin Yun, who was still recovering, Lin Rei's eyes flashed with tears. Fortunately, he controlled them well and didn't let them fall. How? How is it? Is Yun-Er alright? Lu Ying asked Lin Yun's condition. His voice trembled slightly and he looked nervous. Lu Ying felt an inexplicable pain in her heart. She then told him about Lin Yun's current condition. He's fine. Don't worry, husband. If there are no accidents, Yun will be able to break through to the immortal monarch realm today. What? Break through? Hearing his wife's words, Lin Rei's face lit up. The fear in his heart disappeared. Yes, Yun-Er was already on the verge of breaking through. After going through this battle, Yun-Er's fighting spirit was completely stimulated. Therefore, a breakthrough is inevitable. After knowing that his son was fine, Lin Rei's heart dropped. He then looked at Lu Ying, his eyes filled with tenderness. Ying-Er, since our son is fine, should we still continue with our marriage? We've already reached the last step. Because everyone present, except for Tian Zhongxi, wasn't a cultivator, everyone heard Lin Rei's words. Pfft, a bell-like laughter rang out. Instantly, everyone's gaze turned to the person who had laughed. At this moment, Liao Yu, who was standing beside Tian Zhongxi, smiled without hiding anything. "Ah, big brother from the Lin family, then I, big brother C, won't disturb your wedding night." After knowing Lin Rei's intention, Liao Yu didn't have to stay. After saying that, she gave her husband a look. However, her husband seemed to be in a daze and ignored Liao Yu's look. "Brother, I'm also worried about Yun's current situation. Why don't I stay and accompany you?" Upon hearing Tian Zhongxi's words, everyone was speechless. However, Lin Rei looked grateful. He knew that Tian Zhongxi meant well. "Hee, big brother Tian, don't worry. Yun will be fine. Look, it's already so late. You should go back as a sister-in-law. My son is already so big, so you should work hard too. Perhaps we can even become in-laws." As Lin Rei spoke, he chuckled and looked at his wife, Lu Ying. Instantly, Lu Ying's cheeks flushed red. "Humph, what nonsense." Although Lu Ying said that, she agreed with what Tian Zhongxi said. She knew Tian Zhongxi's character. If they could really become in-laws, perhaps this wasn't a bad idea. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.